I was the kind of ability user whose every word became reality. With one sentence, God says I can fly. Even without wings, I shot straight into the sky. With another sentence, God says I am invisible. I vanished from sight. But after I crossed into the apocalypse and spent 3 months trapped inside Su Ran's body, a body that had starved to death, I said, God says I need a bowl of white rice, and nothing happened. Only then did I remember the fatal truth. This body had no spiritual energy left. While I was still trying to survive this dead end, a violent crash exploded outside the door. Cabinets and tables were blocking the door completely. I could not even see who was outside through the peephole. However, the knocking outside confirmed that it was a human, not a zombie. I leaned against the cabinet and shouted loudly, "Someone's in here." I say shouted, but it wasn't actually that loud. Luckily, those outside heard me. I also heard a particularly distinct voice. "Holy crap. Brother Lu, your sister is actually still alive." With the help of Lu Chen and the others, I was finally rescued. Sitting in the back seat of the off-road vehicle, I saw Lu Chen in the passenger seat, playing with an irregular light blue crystal in his hand. I raised an eyebrow slightly. "What's that in your hand?" Lu Chen paused for a moment, looked at me, and answered concisely, "A crystal core." Knowing I hadn't left the house for 3 months, Lu Chen explained, "Something found inside a zombie's brain. As long as you dig out the crystal core, the zombie cannot survive." Jiang Che, who had been silent, couldn't help but chime in. "These cores are also useful for us ability users. By the way, are you an ability user?" From the original owner's memories, I understood what those words meant. I nodded. "I am." "What's your ability?" Jiang Che was a bit surprised. Understood. I thought about it for a moment. "I guess I'm a bit of everything." Jiang Che glanced at the girl through the rearview mirror, feeling a bit skeptical. "Do you think I believe that?" I didn't answer him. I just looked at Lu Chen. "Can I have this crystal core? I'll give it back to you later." Lu Chen handed the crystal core to me, leaning over to warn me, "We ability users can absorb energy from these cores, but they are mixed with some viruses. If you absorb it, you need to remove the virus first. Otherwise you'll..." Before he could finish, Lu Chen saw the light blue crystal in my hand turn into a dull, gray stone. Lu Chen was shocked. "Are you okay?" I absorbed the spiritual energy from the core and instantly felt a surge of strength. I held out my palm. While Lu Chen was confused, he saw his so-called sister part her lips slightly. "God says I have a cream bread." Lu Chen frowned slightly, thinking I had gone crazy. He was about to tell Jiang Che to find a safe place to stop, when the next second, in my hand, a cream bread larger than my palm appeared. The off-road vehicle braked suddenly, and my body slammed forward. Luckily, my left hand blocked my forehead, so I didn't hit anything. As for the bread, I gripped it tight, and the cream squeezed out from the middle. I looked at Jiang Che with a displeased gaze. "Little sister, where did this bread come from? Are you a space-type ability user?" he asked with a loud laugh. I glanced at Jiang Che, ignored him, and started eating my bread. Lu Chen was still thinking about the way I absorbed the core's energy. "You just absorbed the core's energy. Did you convert it?" Besides the spiritual energy, there were indeed quite a few impurities. But I don't know anything about converting. I just absorbed the energy, that's all. "You converted it so quickly. How did you do it? Why was it so fast? Why would I need to convert it? I mean, isn't it enough to just absorb what you need?" I looked up at Lu Chen. The car suddenly stopped by the roadside, and other zombies were about to surround them. Lu Chen stopped questioning me, and told Jiang Che, "Let's keep moving first. We'll talk more once we're safe." The off-road vehicle started again. On the way to safety, because I had absorbed a crystal core, I regained my strength. I also learned about the current situation from Lu Chen. It's been nearly 3 months since the apocalypse. The country is in chaos, and social order has collapsed. Lu Chen and the others were heading to City G, next to City H. He said a small base had been established there, and they planned to go check out its scale and how it operated. After understanding the situation, I searched the original owner's memories and asked Lu Chen, "Where is Lu Chuan?" I went home first, but didn't see Dad or Auntie. As for Lu Chuan, I haven't been to his school yet. After he spoke, both of them fell into silence. Seeing that Lu Chen and I weren't speaking, Jiang Che finally found a chance to interrupt. "Brother Lu, the Linda Mall is up ahead. Are we going in? Let's get close and let Mabai take a look." The 2 off-road vehicles stopped. I was told to wait until they cleared the nearby zombies before getting out. Naturally, I didn't get out. I didn't have much strength right now, and I'd only be a burden. There weren't too many zombies on the street. They quickly used their abilities to clear them out. I watched as they dug out light blue crystal cores from each of the zombies' skulls. My eyes lit up. I quickly got out of the car. Before I could reach them, I saw the man who, even in the apocalypse, was still wearing a dress shirt. Nod to Lu Chen. "There shouldn't be any danger around here. As for the inside of the mall, it's a bit far. I'll have to go in and feel it out." Lu Chen used a clean towel to wipe the cores. Seeing me approach, he waved me over with one hand and introduced Shin Mabai to me. "Do you remember him from before?" "Mabai, this is my sister, Su Ran." Shin Mabai glanced at me, gave a slight nod, and didn't say much. He was naturally a man of few words. Lu Chen didn't say anything more, and called the other two over to introduce them one by one. One was named Wen Yining, also a childhood friend of Lu Chen, and another was named Zhang Wanqing. She is Wen Yining's fiancée. Lu Chen has the most powerful ability. He is a fire-type ability user. The lively and talkative Jiang Che is a wind-type user. The taciturn Shen Mabai is a psychic-type user. Wen Yining, who appears as gentle as water, is a space-type ability user. The proud Zhang Wanqing, who refuses to even look at me, is a water-type ability user. Except for Lu Chen and Shen Mabai, who are level 2, everyone else is still level 1. After Lu Chen and the others dug out the zombie cores, the group headed inside the mall. They moved toward the mall. Although there were still 50 or 60 meters to go, through the shattered glass windows, zombies could still be seen walking stiffly inside. It's worth mentioning that, just as human abilities can level up, zombies also entered the mall. As expected, there were quite a few zombies inside. Dozens were visible as far as the eye could see. However, as for the zombies on the upper floors, Lu Chen and the others didn't mind them. These zombies are visible, and if we deal with them slowly, we'll eventually clear them all. Their main goal was the large supermarket on the first basement level. As long as the base hadn't sent an organized team, it would be nearly impossible to empty the place. They looked toward Shen Mabai. The latter closed his eyes slightly. Then, he used his psychic ability to scan the building. Soon, a look of strain appeared on Shen Mabai's handsome face. When a bit of sweat appeared on his forehead, he finally opened his eyes. His expression was grave. I can only say there are a lot of zombies, a huge amount. I can't sense the exact number. With our current abilities alone, he shook his head, leaving the rest of the sentence unspoken. Lu Chen wasn't disappointed by this answer. In fact, before coming here, they had already prepared themselves mentally. Jiang Che pointed to the 4th floor. I remember there's a food street on the 4th floor. Wanna go check it out? No need, right? Most things in a food street are ingredients that don't last long. When Yining rejected the suggestion, there are still too many zombies inside. Let's keep it quiet and just look for clothes on the 1st floor. We should still go to safer, remote areas to kill zombies, to hoard more cores and level up our abilities. Otherwise, the next time we find supplies, we'll have to give them up again. No one disagreed with Lu Chen, so the group remained exceptionally quiet, trying their best to stay away from the zombies. They walked without making a single sound. Whenever they saw suitable clothes, they let Wen Yining use her space ability to store them. After more than half an hour, having finished gathering clothes, they quietly retreated. As for me, I didn't go inside the whole time. Jiang Che was also waiting beside me, acting as a lookout. Getting back into the car, I looked at Lu Chen, who had switched to the driver's seat. Are we just leaving like this? Can't be helped, we aren't strong enough. If you gave me more crystal cores, maybe I could handle it. Little sister, your calculations are a bit too obvious. Just say it if you want some cores. No need to use that as an excuse. You can invest in me. My ability is very powerful. Space ability? Jiang Che waved his hand dismissively. Yining has that too. I stopped talking. Lu Chen glanced at me through the rearview mirror. If you want crystal cores, you have to contribute to the team. To survive the apocalypse, those without value won't survive. Do you understand what investment means? I crossed my arms. Lu Chen steered with one hand, while the other pulled a few cores from his pocket. He tossed them back. I caught them perfectly. It's true that those without value won't survive, but you have a background. I smiled. Lu Chen, this bargain of a brother, was actually quite decent. Even though we aren't blood-related, he didn't look for Lu Chuan, his half-brother, but came to find me first. Unfortunately, he was a step too late. The original owner of this body was already gone. I gripped the cores tightly. In an instant, I finished absorbing them. Jiang Che watched from the side. The more he looked, the more absurd he found it. Little sister, you're truly powerful. I gave him a glance, and stayed silent. Having absorbed several cores, my energy instantly improved. Following Shen Mabai's tip, the group arrived at a villa area as dusk fell, to serve as a temporary shelter. It was obvious the villa had been vacant for a long time. Many things in the house were in total chaos, covered in a thick layer of dust. After checking the entire villa, and confirming there was no danger, Lu Chen said, "Everyone, find your own room. Clean your own room yourselves. Miss Zhang, could you please provide some water?" Okay, I was too lazy to go to the 2nd floor, so I found a room with a bathroom downstairs. This is a clean and tidy room. The next second, the entire room became spotless, as if a professional cleaning crew had just finished a deep clean. Lu Chen came over with the bedsheets, only to find my room perfectly clean. "How is your room so clean? Didn't I tell you? I can do a bit of everything. I also have a room cleaning ability. I really am too narrow-minded." "Then, little sister, I'll leave my room in your hands. Since you gave me cores this afternoon, I can." The room Lu Chen chose was a small one on the 1st floor. I took a look. This is a clean room. The next second, everything in the room became incredibly clean. Even the tissues scattered on the floor were spotless. Lu Chen looked at me with a hint of surprise. "Suran, your ability is amazing. He pulled a few more cores from his pocket and handed them to me. These cores are all yours. Seeing the cores, my eyes lit up, mimicking the girls from the short videos the original owner used to watch. Thank you, big brother. Speak properly. While we were talking, a knock sounded from the door. The group went into the living room, their eyes turning to Shin Mabai. The latter closed his eyes slightly. After a moment, he opened them. His thin lips parted slightly. 2 men, 2 women. I don't sense any danger. Hearing this, Zhang Ge asked Lu Chen, Brother Lu, should we open the door? Open it. Zhang Che went over and opened the door. Outside, just as Shin Mabai had said, there were 2 men and 2 women. They all looked quite young, with a look of pure innocence, or rather stupidity, in their eyes. Upon seeing Zhang Che open the door, their eyes filled with surprise and joy. I saw 2 off-road vehicles outside. Just guessed someone might be here. Didn't expect there actually were. Closing the door, Zhang Che stepped back to stand by Lu Chen, with a scrutinizing look. Who are you people? What do you want coming in here? Along the way, we encountered some flight ability users. Learned about the current state of the apocalypse. Right as we traveled. Besides meeting a few flight ability users, we haven't run into any other humans. If it weren't for those ability users, we would have wondered if we were the only ones left in this world. You are? Then, do you know Lu Chen? I know Lu Chen, but he probably doesn't know me. Haha. After chatting a bit more, once we learned their names, everyone became more familiar. After learning we were heading to G City base, Song Yang and his group asked to come along. Seeing Lu Chen frown slightly, appearing reluctant to take them, Song Yang explained their value. I'm a dual ability user of wood and speed. Xiaotang is a space ability user. Zhao Beichen is a strength ability user. We have some supplies. We won't be a burden on yours, and we just hope to reach G City together. Within our means, we can look out for each other. Seeing that the 4 of them had abilities, and wouldn't use their supplies, Lu Chen agreed to travel together to G City base. After getting acquainted, when Yining took out rice and eggs from her space. Let's have egg fried rice for dinner. I heard you're a food blogger, you do it. I can't cook. I'm only responsible for eating and reviewing. When Yining looked at me skeptically, when Yining was helpless the rice, just as she was about to cook, Lin Xiaotang, who was eating self-heating rice, walked over. I can cook. Let me help you. No need, right? My cooking is actually quite good. Just consider it a thank you for taking us along. When Yining couldn't refuse, then I'll leave it to you. Lin Xiaotang took the rice from Wen Yining. After rinsing the rice efficiently, she steamed it on a simple stove. The rice is done. Let's fry it once it's cooked. Thanks. You're welcome. Lin Xiaotang's eyes were bright, staring intently at Wen Yining. I don't know your name yet. Wen Yining. Yining, come here for a second. I have something to tell you. Just as Lin Xiaotang was about to speak, Zhang Wanqing beside her couldn't hold back. Sorry, Miss Lin. My Yining doesn't know how to cook. Sorry for the trouble. Oh, you two seem to have a great relationship, Lin Xiaotang remarked, then sat at the table to continue eating. Her eyes were lowered. Impossible to tell what she was thinking. Lin Xiaotang's cooking was indeed good. She made egg fried rice, leaving Lu Chen and the others with satisfied expressions on their faces. After dinner, he took the map and drew a route to G City base. The exact path will depend on the situation. They had to leave as soon as possible. Though H City's disasters weren't as severe as elsewhere, flooding still occurred. It just wasn't too serious. But with natural disasters, you never know. So it's better to leave early. After arranging the night watch, I got some clean clothes from Wen Yining and took a shower in the bathroom. In the middle of a deep sleep, I suddenly heard a shout. I opened my eyes. Lack of sleep made me irritable. With messy hair, I opened the door and saw a single candle lit in the living room. Several people had already been woken up. What's going on? What is that sound? It's dangerous. I can feel a lot of creatures, and these creatures seem to be fleeing. Just as he finished speaking, a thunderous roar echoed from the sky. Lightning seemed to split the sky in half. Huge raindrops began to fall instantly. Everything is fleeing. Zhang Ge asked anxiously, Brother Lu, what do we do now? We're leaving too. Pack your things. Wake the others, we leave now. The rain poured down in torrents. In the blink of an eye, water began to accumulate on the ground. Shin Mabai sat in the back seat, watching the scene through the window, frowning slightly. It must be a natural disaster. Look, so many rats are running out. Damn! A flyer. TSK, what's there to envy? If you're so good, you do it. Anyone can brag. Instead of mocking me here, you should think about how to survive. Oh really? Then I'm just so terrified. With the boost from Shin Mabai's mental ability, 2 off-road vehicles raced toward G City. The rain grew heavier and heavier. Soon, the water on the ground grew deeper. The cars couldn't move forward at all. Jiang Che pressed the accelerator, but it only felt more difficult. The headlights pierced through the curtain of rain, but nothing could be seen ahead. Pitch black. Lu Chen rolled down the window slightly and heard the pattering of rain and the howling wind. Raindrops surged frantically through the gap in the window. We can't make it to the base. The most important thing now is is to find a place to shelter from the rain. Having used his mental ability continuously, Shin Mabai's energy was now depleted. His face turned pale. Hearing Lu Chen's words, he quickly used his ability to sense again. After a moment, he said with a pale face, "Southeast." Zhang Che didn't say a word, and immediately drove southeast with high beams on. Drove for about 10 minutes. They saw the place Shin Mabai mentioned for temporary shelter, and by now, the water level had almost reached people's calves. The car stalled automatically. Zhang Che called out, and everyone got out with flashlights. I glanced at the filthy water on the ground. "I'm off." Zhang Wanqing, who was about to get out, noticed this. She was instantly speechless. "You have a car but insist on flying. Are you a bird?" Just as he was about to mock me, the next second, Zhang Wanqing's eyes widened. She saw my feet lift off the ground, floating out of the car in midair. The flashlight's beam pierced through the rain, combined with the scene, making it look somewhat eerie. More importantly, that torrential rain couldn't touch me at all. How are you? Stop standing there like an idiot and lead the way." "Yes, yes."
Zhang Ke answered immediately.
After answering, he froze. Wait, why was he speaking so humbly and obsequiously? No, that's not the point. The point is, why should he be the one leading? Zhang Che was quite annoyed, but his actions were swift. He reached out his hand, with a pleading tone. After speaking, Zhang Che regretted it again. He always felt that whenever he faced Brother Lu, or that cheap sister's eyes, he became a bit shaken. The others looked at Zhang Che and my silhouette in the sky, their hearts filled with shock and complexity. They'd never heard of a flight ability user, who could fly without wings on their back. And why wasn't the rain wetting her? Is there really such a distinction? The building Mo Bai mentioned was a private 3-story residential building. The first floor seemed to be a small supermarket. Shelves were collapsed everywhere. Food and drinks were basically gone. Only some daily necessities remained. The group pulled down the rolling shutter, then headed up to the second floor. Just as I landed, a few crystal cores appeared before me. I looked at Lu Chen in confusion. What is this? Take them and clean this place up. Huh? Use these? How do I do that? I ignored them. After taking the crystals and absorbing them, I felt quite good. By the light of the flashlight, everyone clearly saw all the furniture here becoming spotless. Even the floor looked as if it had been scrubbed. The purple tiles were shining brightly. Who on earth are you? Level 1. Level? You call this level 1? This is clearly billion level, okay? Look. Flight, cleaning, spatial manipulation. This has to be at least a 3rd, 4th, or 5th class ability, right? The others were curious about this too, so they all stared at me. With a blank expression, I sat on the sofa and said calmly, "All classes, having recovered a significant amount of spiritual power, I have completely risen. From now on, I no longer need to please anyone." The others didn't feel my attitude change. After all, in their eyes, I had always been this arrogant. When did I ever care about others' opinions? There weren't many rooms in the building, only 3 rooms. Luckily, there were 2 more on the 3rd floor, one of which was a large master bedroom, with not enough rooms. Naturally, some would have to share, but now that I've risen, why would I agree? I cleaned this place. The master bedroom is mine. Everyone looked at Lu Chen. It's true I cleaned the house, but he's the one who provided the crystals. Before Lu Chen could speak, the usually quiet Shinmaji was the first to agree. I think it's fine. When Yining glanced at her friend, she knew exactly why Shinmaji agreed. Perhaps to others, a cleaning ability seems useless, but to a severe germaphobe like Shinmaji, it's a godsend of an ability. Look at that. The always aloof Shinmabai has actually learned how to flatter people. Zhang Che saw that I didn't object. Seeing no objections, Lu Chen nodded and opened a room. Jiang Wanqing, dissatisfied that it was decided, said, "What about you guys?" Lin Xiaotang and Zhou Tian didn't answer. They were just tagging along with Lu Chen. This place was found by Shinmaji's ability. I cleaned the rooms. Lu Chen provided the crystals. Where would they get the right to vote? Then let's vote. Vote? Suran. What do you mean? Jiang Wanqing wanted to argue further, but she met my dark, freezing eyes. She was instantly startled, feeling as if she had fallen into an ice cellar, shivering from the cold. The arrogance she had built up, and the words she prepared, changed as they left her mouth. Your voice is quite loud, but the words are quite agreeable. I was satisfied with her tact. I retracted my aura, and took the opportunity to order her, go run a bath for me. Everyone looked at me in shock, then looked at Jiang Wanqing. Even Lin Xiaotang and the others, having known her for less than a day, knew that Jiang Wanqing usually acted like a spoiled rich heiress, speaking bossily to everyone. Her submission just now was already unbelievable. They didn't expect me to actually push it further. If they started fighting in a bit, would they pull Jiang Wanqing away first? As for me, they wouldn't dare touch me. Jiang Wanqing, who they thought would fight back, still seemed determined. I'll go run the bath. The words were the same. The tone was the same. Jiang Wanqing stormed up to the third floor. Her steps hurried, almost as if she were fleeing in panic. When Yining looked at me, with a hint of admiration in her eyes, Jiang Wanqing's spoiled temper was something even she couldn't handle. She didn't expect me to actually subdue her. After taking a bath, I went down to the second floor. The others had already settled in and were preparing food. Lin Xiaotang and the other three remained separate from them. Because the heavy rain dropped the temperature, they decided to have self-heating hot pot for dinner. I sat on a single sofa, smelling the hot pot in my hand. My eyes lit up. The first bite didn't disappoint. Spicy, numbing, and fragrant. The aroma was overwhelming. Even though it was mostly vegetables, it was still delicious. The others were eating heartily too. After all, luxuries like self-heating hot pot were usually too expensive to eat. Just having enough to eat in a day was a win. I ate with such excitement that I wanted another bowl immediately. But thinking about the spiritual power in my body, I restrained myself. I'll just slaughter some monsters first. Then I can eat hot pot every day. After eating, Lu Chen looked at my leftover hot pot broth and frowned slightly. What a waste of rich broth. He meant for me to eat it. Hot pot soup, something ignored before the apocalypse, has become a rare delicacy now. Even people like Lu Chen and Jiang Wanqing, the wealthy ones, polished it clean. It really felt like a waste. I looked at the soup and really didn't want it. Lu Chen disagreed. Just as he was about to persuade me again, I heard a voice from the side. I don't mind. Give it to me. Everyone looked at Jiang Wanqing in shock. Jiang Wanqing looked a bit embarrassed. Drink up. Jiang Wanqing's face lit up. She took my portion of the soup base and immediately tilted her head back to drink. Su ran. I can't believe you're this kind of rich heiress. I shifted away with a look of disgust. No wonder you can't resist. Some leftover hot pot soup. It actually makes you lose control. How pathetic. Jiang Wanqing didn't care about their judgment. Since the apocalypse, she had barely eaten her fill. There wasn't a drop of grease in her stomach. She was so hungry every day she couldn't sleep. Especially after using her abilities, the energy drained even faster. After dinner, everyone felt more energized. They discussed what to do next. Everyone immediately looked toward Shin Mabai. After all, he had mental abilities. Even things he said based on intuition were usually reliable. Shin Mabai didn't use his power again. His energy was completely depleted for the day. He felt weak all over, and his head was spinning. He needed a whole night to recover. We need to find other survivors as soon as possible, or find another way out. I agree. I'll follow you, but we are currently facing a very practical problem. The car won't start. The car stalled on the way here. Now it's submerged in water, and the water level is still rising, waiting for the water to recede on its own. The rain is still pouring. Who knows when it will stop, or when the water will go down. If we wait a week, our supplies won't last. Without a car, we can't leave. But we can't stay trapped here. The flood brings more than just water. There are things in the water, bacteria, viruses, rotting animal carcasses, and filth flowing from sewage pipes. The longer we stay here, the greater the risk. Lin Xiaotang listened to them, and couldn't help but whisper. Actually, before she could finish, I spoke up at almost the same time. But since my voice was louder, I immediately drowned her out. What are you all stressing over? Shin Mabai looked at me in surprise. I leaned back on the sofa with my arms crossed, my gaze indifferent. Whether you want to pool your crystal cores is up to you. I think it's a good idea. They couldn't afford to be trapped here. If they lose cores, they can just find more. But if they lose their lives, it's over. The other 9 people discussed it. There were 10 of them in total. If they squeezed into average-sized lifeboats, 5 people could fit. But for more space, everyone agreed not to cram too many. In the end, everyone agreed to contribute their cores. Lu Chen set the price. 5 cores each for 3 lifeboats. I agreed instantly. After quickly absorbing the 45 cores, I sat still on the sofa, only moving my lips slightly. The 9 of them watched. After a surge of energy in the living room, 3 lifeboats appeared out of thin air. Lin Xiaotang looked at me in shock. Ah, no. Lin Xiaotang looked toward the speaker, only to see Jiang Che excitedly crouching beside me. Sister Su. 5 cores for a bowl of braised pork and a bowl of rice. As he spoke, he pulled out his only savings, 5 crystal cores. The others looked at Jiang Che's sycophantic behavior, unable to bear the sight, but in their hearts, there was a hint of envy. Who wouldn't want rice and braised pork? I raised an eyebrow. I didn't expect these people to still have so many cores in their pockets. Too bad they're too familiar, not easy to rob. I took the cores, my expression relaxing. I didn't store the cores. I absorbed them immediately, compared to Shin Mabai who had started absorbing, and hadn't even finished a single one. My speed was absolutely staggering. Jiang Che and the others were bewildered. The next second, on the coffee table in front of me, rice and braised pork appeared, and they were steaming hot. The aroma of the pork hit them instantly. Gulp. The sound of constant swallowing was incredibly obvious. Jiang Che, who had already lunged for the rice, felt the hungry, wolf-like stares of the group. He silently poured the rice onto a plate, then found a corner to devour it quickly. The fat and sugar in the meal blended perfectly, creating a fusion of sweet and salty flavors that made Jiang Jiang Che's eyes squint in delight. Now this is living. The others smelled the meat, and their full stomachs suddenly felt empty. But considering their own core counts, they gave up, rather than filling their bellies, upgrading their abilities. To survive and grow stronger in this apocalypse was more important. Once they became powerful, would they still fear a lack of supplies? After weighing the options, the group looked at Jiang Che and suppressed their desires. Lu Chen looked at me with a complex expression. Sensing his gaze, I immediately made my stance clear. Even if you're my cheap brother, don't think you can get anything for free. If you want food, you pay in cores. You're not my real brother. I'm not taking advantage of you, and don't you dare try to take advantage of me. Is your ability really will manifestation? Whatever you say just appears. You could put it that way. Lu Chen felt helpless. I looked at my thin arms and legs, thinking I really needed to nourish myself. The original owner was 163 centimeters tall, but weighed only 40 kilograms, completely skin and bones. I took one look at that face and didn't want to see it again. Jiang Wanqing, who had finished the soup while crouching beside me, said excitedly, "Will manifestation? Then couldn't you just say the apocalypse is over, and it would actually end?" Theoretically, yes, when Ening pressed further, but it requires enough energy, just like the food. If she wanted a Manchu Han imperial feast, obviously the number of energy cores he had wasn't enough. Then it's actually impossible. On the contrary, the energy required to end the apocalypse would require collecting every single energy core in the world. That's not necessarily the case. While ending the apocalypse might be unlikely, the energy needed to create a vaccine should be doable. Lu Chen's dark eyes lit up slightly, staring intently at me. These words opened up a new line of thinking for everyone. I suggest that from now on, he shouldn't be sent on any dangerous missions. We prioritize protecting him. Agreed? Suddenly, everyone looked at me with gleaming eyes. As soon as these words came out, the people who had just treated me as a savior immediately avoided Lu Chen's gaze. Prioritizing my protection is fine, provided that they aren't in danger themselves. I let out a cold snort. Humph. Just protect yourselves. I don't need your protection. Similarly, I won't protect you. And just like that, the matter of prioritizing my protection vanished. I didn't take it to heart either. Human nature is inherently selfish. Although I've spent a few days with Lu Chen's group, and it seemed like we were getting along well, when things truly go south, aside from Lu Chen, I might not actually save them. Just as they suspected, saving someone requires a calculation. Aside from the wailing of the zombies at night, I actually rested quite well. After a night of torrential rain, the rain didn't let up the next day. After everyone had breakfast, they looked out from the second-floor window. The water level had risen significantly. Aside from zombies wandering in the rain, not a single pedestrian was in sight. Looking at this scene, Song Yang couldn't help but ask a question. Before anyone else could answer, Lin Xiaodong's firm voice rang out. Everyone's gaze immediately shifted to her. Song Yang hurriedly asked, "How do you know it won't?" "It's a result based on my observations." "So you mean, as long as the head or the energy core isn't damaged, strictly speaking, it's still alive?" "Humph. Isn't this just immortality?" If the first emperor knew this was how immortality worked, he probably wouldn't have been so obsessed. If the zombie virus could let our bodies mutate while keeping our minds rational, Jiang Che let his imagination run wild. Conquering the galaxy, fighting aliens, that sounds way better than fighting zombies. Aliens aren't our kind. There'd be no psychological burden in fighting them. Once we get out of here, it's settled then. Shen Maobai had recovered by today. Right now, he was sitting on the sofa in the living room, legs crossed, sipping a cup of hot water. After glancing at the rain outside, he said, "This rain will probably last a week. We can't stay here that long. Chen, what do you think?" "We definitely can't go out today. The rain is too heavy. When it lets up depends on the heavens." They had calculated yesterday that their supplies would last exactly 1 week, but they couldn't afford to be that precise. Shen Maobai had to use his ability to sense the premonitions of their journey over the next few days. Finally, he said, "We can leave the day after tomorrow, but there will likely be some complications." Beyond that, he couldn't sense anything. After all, his ability was only level 2. He heard that level 3 is the dividing line for abilities, where a qualitative change occurs compared to levels 1 and 2. "It seems I need to reach level 3 as soon as possible." "Oh, then we set off the day after tomorrow." "No objections?" Naturally, no one objected. With the heavy rain outside, searching for supplies was impractical. Lu Chen decided to take Jiang Che and, when eating down to the first floor to take a look, it was too late last night. The ground floor was a small shop, with some merchandise still hanging on the walls. They had to see if there was anything useful. Water was already seeping in through the door gaps, and some fallen shelves were floating, soaked in water. The sound of rain outside was still pitter-pattering, hitting the shutter door, making the noise even louder. Besides that, it was accompanied by the guttural howls of zombies. When the flashlight beamed downstairs, a cold wind blew. The pitch-black darkness was truly eerie. The darkness was truly haunting. The gloom was truly chilling. The void was truly terrifying. The water level on the first floor was too high, so Lu Chen and the others simply used a lifeboat to go check the supplies. The things hanging on the walls were almost useless. Backpacks, straw hats, water bottles, just basic daily necessities. Jiang Che said with surprise, "Brother Lu, I found raincoats and water bottles here. Take the straw hats and raincoats too." Lu Chen reached out and took a bottle hanging on the wall. The journey to the East City isn't short. Traveling in this torrential rain, getting wet is inevitable. If someone catches a cold or gets a fever, our current medical reserves probably won't hold up. A level 1 storage space is simply too small. I need to upgrade as soon as possible. With a wave of his hand, he swept all these items into his space. For a level 1 space-type ability user, the storage capacity is indeed small, only 5 cubic meters. He didn't store much food, but he had piled up many daily necessities like clothes and pots. The group had been holed up in this 3-story residence, and fortunately, no danger had occurred. Early the day after tomorrow, they looked out the window, and sure enough, the rain had eased, turning into a light drizzle. Lu Chen gave the 4 collected raincoats to me and the others. I was a bit disgusted, but thinking about saving spiritual power, since I still needed a lot of it, I accepted the wrinkled and ugly raincoat. The shutter door, closed for several days, was finally opened, and 3 lifeboats slowly drifted out. Outside, a few scattered zombies were floating on the water, looking exactly like they were just lying flat. Their grayish-white eyes, void of pupils, seemed to spot them, and they clawed and lunged toward them. However, due to the resistance of the water, and because it was daytime, their speed wasn't fast. In fact, it was very slow. My eyes lit up, and just as I was about to speak, I heard Lu Chen say, "Even a tiny mosquito is still meat, and lone zombies have better cost performance. This way, our daily bread is sorted." Conversely, because they were on lifeboats, movement was difficult, making them look a bit clumsy. I thought traveling by lifeboat would be fraught with danger, but the opposite was true. Not only was the zombies' combat power reduced, but I wondered if they ever got tired. Then I remembered his energy cores, which could be absorbed in a single second. It was as if those cores cost nothing. Looking at him made me feel incredibly greedy. Turn left ahead. Shinmabai sensed something and then said, "There are a lot of zombies ahead." "How many is a lot?" I asked excitedly upon hearing this. Without waiting for Shinmabai's answer, I released my mental power. Joy immediately flashed in my eyes. "There really are a lot of them. You can feel it? Didn't I tell you that I'm a jack of all trades?" Shinmabai felt that psychic abilities were different from other powers, but he couldn't put his finger on why. I didn't wait for them to speak, and immediately stated my goal. "I want to go there. No, that's the road to the was the most crowded place before the apocalypse. Long queues for registration every day. The ER was always packed with people. Extra beds filled the hallways until you couldn't even walk. There was a flu outbreak just before the end. Medical systems in many places collapsed. The number of people going to the increased manifold. So since the apocalypse began, those who were still at when the virus broke out, basically none escaped. They all became, Suran, listen to me. The inside are definitely more than what you see. So what?" Shinmabai didn't know how many were at but just thinking about it made his skin crawl. Not to mention the streets surrounding there would be plenty of there too. It's highly likely that before you even reach you'll be ripped apart by other. Moreover, Lu Chen asked from the side. "Moreover, what?" "Moreover, I have a feeling the danger at isn't just because there are many. There must be something even more dangerous. I just don't know exactly what it is. I can't sense it." "I heard you." On Shinmabai's usually indifferent face, there was now a look of seriousness. His intuition told him that place is extremely dangerous, at least with their current strength. Going there would be a death sentence. I didn't respond immediately. I simply floated up into the air. It's rare to find such a great opportunity to increase my strength. I'm certainly not letting it slip away. "Suran, don't go. Skill brings courage, but you can't fight sheer numbers. In this apocalypse, nothing is plentiful, except for there's no need to go to the most dangerous place. At the most dangerous time, I hovered in the air, looking down at them. Thank you for taking care of me these past few days, but the decision I've made cannot be changed by anyone." As I spoke, dozens of crystal cores fell at Lu Chen's feet. "This is my thank you gift." Though the girl looked so frail, at this moment, everyone seemed to feel my overwhelming confidence. And that fleeting glance, a glimpse of danger. And that fleeting glance, it was like a look, not of contempt, nor of mockery, but like how people look at plants and trees, without any particular feeling, just glancing past them indifferently. "Suran, we will meet again." Lu Chen tried to persuade me further, but I turned my back to them, waving my hand behind me, my tone light and airy. My silhouette flew further and further away.
Jiang Ke grew anxious.
"Captain, should we chase her? She's my precious rice and braised pork. What do you guys think?" "Let's not go. Suran can fly, we can't." Shinmabai said it's dangerous there, not just because of but something else too. "We don't have flight abilities. We won't be able to help. We'll only be a burden." Lu Chen naturally wanted to pursue her, but they were a team. Songyang glanced at Lin Xiaotang, and after sensing her meaning, of course Songyang had words he left unsaid. If they actually went, that girl might not even appreciate it. Those black eyes were far too indifferent. He always felt a sense of being offended, as if in my eyes, he was nothing more than cattle or a blade of grass. So if danger struck, I might not necessarily step in to save them. Zhang Wanqing hurriedly asked, what about us? Although she had always been suppressed by me, for some reason, Zhang Wanqing didn't hate me. In truth, she was someone who admired strength deep down. Before the apocalypse, when Yining was excellent in every way, a standout among the second-generation rich. After the end, she awakened a rare space-type ability. Having already had a great impression of Wen Yining, her admiration only deepened after the apocalypse. She always thought she quite liked Wen Yining, but now she realized she liked me more, because in her heart, I was stronger than Wen Yining. Lu Chen didn't make a decision immediately. What about you guys? Do you want to go? Although he desperately wanted to, it wasn't a decision he could make alone. His friends had pushed him to be the team leader, so he naturally had to consider everyone's safety. Otherwise, if something happened, he would never forgive himself. Lin Xiaotang looked at Lu Chen and the others nervously. Of course, she didn't want them to go. If they left, the powerful partners, with decent character they just found would be gone. Not to mention, when Yining was still here, I'll go with the majority. Zhang Che sat on the lifeboat, stealing a glance at the others. He obviously wanted to go. That was his braised pork and rice. Who could possibly refuse? But his reason told him this was a matter of life and death. He couldn't make such a flippant decision. This left Zhang Che in a dilemma, unable to make any choice. I'll follow your lead. Whatever you decide, I'm on board. I don't agree to go. Ma Bai, what about you? Zhang Che, plagued by indecision, simply stopped choosing, and threw the question to someone else. Shin Ma Bai frowned slightly. There was actually something very strange on his mind, that he hadn't mentioned, namely that his psychic ability seemed useless against me. He was now a level 2 awakened. Besides sensing danger within a certain range, he could also sense the emotions of humans and other awakened towards him. For example, when Lin Xiaotang's group arrived, he could feel that they weren't a significant threat, and that they hadn't come with malice. But with me, he felt absolutely nothing, like a pool of stagnant water, or like thin air, as if I didn't exist at all. Just as now, he only sensed that if they went to the result would be death for all. But I am still here as a variable. Yet it is as if I do not exist. This variable cannot be calculated. Since it cannot be calculated, then it is uncontrollable. No one knows where things will eventually lead. Lu Chen looked at Zhang Wanqing again. Zhang Wanqing bit her lip. Then she lowered her head dejectedly. Her giving up surprised everyone. They thought she would firmly refuse to look for me. After all, they believed she hated me. They didn't expect they were wrong. 2 of them chose no. 2 gave up making a choice. For the rest of the journey, no matter what choice is made, the predetermined outcome cannot be changed. The man lowered his eyes slightly. His voice was deep, then turned left. The lifeboat turned to the left, heading in the opposite direction of the zombies. The atmosphere fell silent. Others gave up easily. That is because I have nothing to do with them. But Lu Chen is my brother. Even if we aren't blood-related, after years together, even a dog would develop feelings, let alone a living human being. Everyone stopped talking, watching the zombies being slaughtered in silence. The previously good mood A City Hospital seems to be gone this time. A City Hospital seems to be gone this time. On the other side, I had no idea that my departure had dampened Lu Chen and the other's spirits. Right now, I am in a great mood. This road is the main artery to the zombie area. There are many cars. Heavy rain caused the water level to rise. These cars are now all submerged in water. Many cars still have zombies trapped inside. Level 1 zombies have no intelligence. Then I swiftly pluck out the zombie's crystal core. I absorb the crystal as soon as I get it. The more zombies I kill, the stronger I become. I don't feel exhausted at all, like a perpetual motion machine. After clearing most of the road and absorbing all the crystals, I am filled with power. I am feeling quite good. They are just too weak. Not a single one can put up a fight. Just a few meters to the zombie entrance. I can see the zombies in front of the railings from afar. The parking lot is densely packed with zombies. My eyes lit up. Indeed, so many zombies. My movements instinctively sped up. Just then, I felt a light flickering around me. I frowned slightly. I looked up toward the light source, in a residential building opposite the zombies. By a window on around the 12th or 13th floor, 3 heads were huddled there. One was holding a large whiteboard. It said SOS on it. Another was constantly shining a flashlight on me. The 3 upstairs saw me glance at them, but I acted as if I hadn't seen them. They immediately got angry. Then I continued to ignore them. The middle-aged man with the flashlight was furious, revealing a set of yellow teeth. Then he went inside to get a device. After the apocalypse, these electronic products are basically useless. They can only be used to kill time. 3 months. Even the most fully charged devices have run out of power. But that is the apocalypse for you. If your own is dead, can't you just use someone else's? The young woman brought the phone over and turned it on. The man took it and opened a music app. After turning the volume to maximum, he played an incredibly loud hype song and blasted it toward me as I cleared the zombies below. The phone's volume was maxed out. In this area where there was only the sound of rain and zombie moans, it was exceptionally jarring. Zombies are very sensitive to sound. Some that were a bit further away and hadn't sensed my presence now heard the sound and came sprinting toward me. The man seemed to be waiting for my reaction. Seeing me look up, he gave a provocative smile. I gave a faint smile in response. It has really been a long time since I've seen a cutie brave enough to provoke me. The reason the middle-aged man provoked me, besides the fact that I ignored their plea for help, was because he had awakened a strength-type ability. The man wasn't sure of the exact location, but as he cleared from the 33rd floor down to the 12th, he became more afraid to go any lower. This woman clearly has an ability, and it is a powerful one. If I come for him out of revenge, regardless of whether he can kill me, when I encounter that level 2 zombie, they can just tear each other apart. It would be absolutely satisfying. Just as the man was gloating over his plan, the next second, the smile froze on his face. I was standing in midair. Zombies from all directions, because of the music, were rushing toward me with all their might. I didn't move, I just flew a bit higher, ensuring they couldn't reach me at this height. I looked at the man who had withdrawn his hand and was still watching the show. I parted my lips slightly. The next second, terror filled the man's eyes. He felt a force constantly manipulating him, pulling him toward the window. He was startled. He instinctively grabbed the woman beside him, but he found the force to be immense, dragging both him and the woman along. The haggard woman was stunned by this. She quickly grabbed the young woman with one hand and the cabinet door with the other, but it was still useless. Seeing their bodies out of control, the young woman tried to shake off old Wang's hand, but how could she shake off a strength-type ability user? The haggard woman, however, easily shook off the young woman's hand. Seeing the two of them falling toward the street, she couldn't help but feel a flicker of pleasure. After all, the man had done nothing but beat and scold her. Anyway, it should be his turn to feed the zombies next. To see her partner die before her in this lifetime, the haggard woman couldn't help but smile. After the apocalypse, eyes that were as dull as stagnant water now seemed to have a light in them. She widened her eyes to watch how he died. The man had never imagined that an ability could control someone out of thin air. He couldn't even conceive of it. That is why he dared to be so arrogant in provoking me. He was certain the other person couldn't do anything to him. Amidst the man's screams, his body slowly descended beside me. Before he could move, kicked him hard. The man and the woman he was clutching plummeted into the water. They were lucky, I suppose. He quickly scrambled up, pulled out a steel knife he carried, and immediately killed the first zombie that approached. I stood high above, smiling as I watched the man kill zombies. Once he finished killing the zombie, that crystal core flew straight into my hand. Apparently, before the man was killed, it wanted to squeeze out his last bit of value. The man had awakened a strength-type ability. After the apocalypse, he fought his way down from the 33rd floor to the 12th. He actually had some skill. At least his ability level had already reached level 2, but facing more and more zombies, he was bound to eventually run out of strength. As for the woman beside him, before the zombies could even bite her, the man kicked her far away. The man's hand, gripping the steel blade, was trembling. While he slaughtered the zombies, he wept uncontrollably. I didn't respond, as the man's strength failed, but I was flying high. No matter how much they struggled down there, they couldn't touch a single hair on my head. Instead, I didn't even need to hold the sword. I used my spiritual power to guide the blade with my fingers, weaving through the horde of zombies. One by one, the zombie corpses fell, like loot dropping from monsters. Every time one fell, a crystal core flew toward me. I didn't store the cores. I basically absorbed them as soon as they hit my hand. It seemed the commotion here was too loud, and it quickly attracted other zombies. Humph! A particularly loud and distinct sound pierced through the rain and reached my ears. I turned slightly and saw that, at the bottom of the opposite building, a zombie actually leaped out. It actually leaped out. Clearly couldn't fly, but a single jump sent it 3 meters high. Not only could it jump high, but it could leap far. This zombie was male, its face twisted and hideous, its thick lips letting out a low growl. It swung its only remaining arm. I quickly stepped aside to dodge, but the wind ruthlessly harvested the zombie that was beside me. A wind-type zombie. A wind-type. My eyes lit up. This one was clearly different from ordinary zombies. Then its core should be different too, right? The zombie seemed to sense my contempt. Its movements were fast, quickly using its wind ability to dodge. But as fast as it was, I was faster. I felt the energy inside the crystal core. Sure enough, it had about 10 times more energy than the previous ones. In a great mood, I watched that zombie's corpse being torn apart by others. After fighting for a while, though I wasn't tired, my stomach was already growling with hunger. Just as I was about to retrieve my sword, I saw that familiar light flashing again. I looked up once more, and saw the remaining haggard woman holding up a whiteboard. The words on the board were no longer, but that there were many ready-made cores here. It was obvious. The woman knew I didn't have a saint complex. Morality wouldn't work on me, so she could only try appealing to my self-interest. Ready-made cores. So she could only try appealing to my self-interest. Ready-made cores. She had seen clearly just now. She had seen clearly that I, or rather those, ability users really loved crystal cores. I glanced at the woman and asked, I can help you. Really? 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 I'm a great cook. I'll cook for you. Just wait for me a moment. I'll come down right away. I'm a professional chef. Hearing that she was a professional chef, my eyes lit up. While the highest level flight users currently were only level 2, only able to fly 5 or 6 meters high, I flew straight to the 12th floor where the woman was. Seeing me defy the laws of Newton and hover directly in midair, the woman felt a massive shock to her system. However, she didn't show it on her face. I flew straight in through the window. As I landed inside, I first took a look around the room. It was surprisingly clean. Perhaps noticing my confusion, the woman proactively explained, after the apocalypse we moved down from the 33rd floor. That's why the rooms are still quite clean. I usually tidy up as well. My name is Chun Yulan. You can just call me Xiao Chun. I sat down on a clean wooden stool. Who were those two people just now to you? That man was my husband. We originally lived on the top floor. After the apocalypse, he awakened a strength type ability. As for the other woman, she was a college student from the 20th floor. She was the only one left in her family who wasn't infected. There was a deep hatred in Chun Yulan's eyes. After that, I really had no other choice. I beg you, please just consider it a favor to me. Enough, I interrupted her. I had no interest in the love-hate drama between Chun Yulan and her husband. I wasn't interested, of course. As for what happened after the things she mentioned, I didn't care. Where are the cores? In the room. I'll go get them for you. Chun Yulan hurried into the room. A moment later, she brought out a small cardboard box. These all belonged to Li Chong. He had abilities, but he didn't know how to absorb the cores, so he just kept collecting them. He only found out how to absorb them last month, so he absorbed cores every day to increase his strength. I heard he was a level 2 strength type user, but what? Even though Li Chong was a level 2 user, he didn't dare go down. He said there was a very dangerous aura below, at least one level 2, or even a level 3. That's why we've been stuck on the 12th floor for several days now. Chun Yulan was truly terrified of Li Chong. She feared him from the bottom of her heart. So to survive, she had to endure everything and compromise. She could only say that heaven has eyes. There might be a level 3 zombie. I immediately released my spiritual power to probe below. In the end, I was disappointed. There were level 2 zombies, but no level 3s. But level 2s would do. Better than ordinary zombies. I wasn't in a rush to kill that zombie. Under Chun Yulan's shocked gaze, in less than 2 minutes, I had absorbed all those crystal cores. Chun Yulan didn't have many supplies left, only some open bags of crackers. Looking at those crumbs, I let out a disgusted "You. Chun Yulan, what dishes can you cook?" Our Chun family can cook a bit of all 14 major cuisines. I specialize in homestyle cooking. My most famous dish is sauerkraut fish. I'm also good at various seafood dishes. After all, this is a coastal city, so seafood is most abundant. How about it? Later, as more tourists came, my father researched some more seafood recipes, which received rave reviews from the customers. Your father seems to have been a great cook. How much did you learn? I only learned the basics from him. Mentioning her father, Chun Yulan's eyes lit up for a moment, then dimmed again. If my father were still here, the Chen family wouldn't have ended up like this. I raised an eyebrow. Have you ever wondered if your father's death wasn't an accident? As the truth dawned on her, her clouded mind suddenly cleared. Her eyes reddened in an instant. Do you mean what I think you mean? Did I cause my father's death? I felt sorry for her. She didn't even know her father had been murdered, and had to be reminded by someone else. If she had known sooner, even if it meant dying, she would have taken that man down with her. Can you make spicy crayfish? Chun Yulan struggled to control her emotions. She answered with a slight nasal tone. I know all the dishes my father knew, though they aren't as delicious as his. But there are no seasonings or ingredients here, so I'm a bit hesitant. Let's just have a simple meal, and then go look for supplies. With my word spirit ability, I could easily manifest spicy crayfish. For cream breads appeared before me. Just as Chun Yulan was about to offer me the remaining biscuits, she saw this powerful person say something inexplicable. Then, for cream breads suddenly appeared. What kind of ability is this? To be able to create supplies out of thin air. Doesn't that mean they'll never starve to death? Eat. Rest a bit after you're done. Then we'll go find supplies. Chen Yulan found it strange. Couldn't this person just create supplies? Why did they still need to go look for them? Of course. She could only wonder in her heart. She didn't dare ask. Chen Yulan knew very well that my current approachable demeanor was only because she was still useful. Once she lost her value, or if the food didn't taste good, the other party would abandon her without hesitation. She hadn't forgotten that this person was no saint. Cream bread, a food ignored before the apocalypse, had become a luxury in this new world. Eating the soft, fragrant bread, Chen Yulan felt the beauty of being alive once more. After eating, Chen Yulan packed a bag. Along with that half bag of biscuits and a bottle of water, she put everything inside. The master might not care, but she didn't have that luxury. Let's go. Let's clear this building first. Chen Yulan followed behind me, trembling with fear. Previously, Li Chong would occasionally force her to scout the way for the zombies. That horrific sight had left a deep psychological scar on her. She glanced up at the person in front of her. Seeing that I had no intention of making her scout ahead, Chen Yulan breathed a huge sigh of relief. Li Chong had already cleared the zombies on the 12th floor, so I went straight to the fire exit to head down. I pushed open the closed fire door. A creak echoed. In this hallway where only the sound of breathing remained, the noise was exceptionally loud. Chen Yulan's heart pounded wildly. Her hands gripped the hem of her clothes. She stared intently down the hallway. If they couldn't win, she'd turn back immediately. She'd rather starve to death than be bitten and killed by a zombie, becoming just another. Just then, she saw a sword suddenly appear in the hand of the person in front. His cold blade gleamed sharply. Chen Yulan was startled, but she didn't panic. Since the apocalypse, she had learned to control herself well, preventing herself from screaming. As expected, the sound of the door attracted the zombies below. As if a switch had been flipped, numerous zombies began to groan frantically, sounding like a pack of wolves howling in the mountains. Bang! 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 Some of them, missing limbs, came stumbling and crashing up the stairs. They came stumbling and crashing up the stairs. I didn't stop. I continued heading down. Upon seeing the zombies, I flung the sword. Driving the blade with my spiritual power, it quickly killed the two zombies coming up. The crystal cores flew into my hand, while the sword remained suspended in midair. Watching this scene, Chen Yulan was shocked once again. She had already lost count of how many times she'd been stunned in the short time she'd known me. However, she had come to a realization. This person was powerful, incredibly powerful. If she could stay by my side, her safety would be maximally guaranteed. More importantly, the master was a woman. After the apocalypse, even though Chen Yulan hadn't seen the outside world, she didn't look down on the female college student. The other wanted to survive and hadn't harmed anyone, only herself. No one could judge her. Reaching the 11th floor, I led Chen Yulan straight to the corridor. There were 2 apartments per floor. The units faced each other. I could hear zombies inside both doors, constantly slamming against the wood. The doors shook violently, looking as if they could burst open at any moment. Walking up to one of the doors, I sliced right through the center. The thick iron door actually split right down the middle. The family of 3 couldn't resist the mutation, and had all turned into zombies. I felt no particular emotion. There were no more zombies in the room, and because the family of 3 had mutated at the start of the apocalypse, there were actually quite a few supplies left. While I was surveying the room, Chen Yulan had already found a bag, and was gathering all the edible supplies. This was rice. Something so ordinary before the end of the world, yet more precious than gold now. Chen Yulan hadn't eaten rice in a very long time. Even if she had rice, she couldn't cook it without water and fire. If I told her to throw it away, she wouldn't be able to bear it. Even without knowing the situation outside, she knew that rice and flour were absolute scarcities. I began wandering around the house. The room was a bit messy, covered in dust, with a lingering scent of decay. But I spotted a snack basket on the study desk at a glance. I stepped forward immediately. There were quite a few snacks inside. From the original owner's memories, I recognized the names of these snacks. Fruit snacks. I hooked the basket on my wrist, opened a pack of spicy strips and took a bite. The spicy flavor instantly flooded my mouth. I rarely eat spicy food, so I can't handle it well, but I still couldn't bring myself to spit it out. People of this era are amazing. How could they make food this delicious? I didn't find any more food in the other rooms, but I spotted a locked chest in the master bedroom. After opening it, I found it filled with jewelry and gold. I immediately felt deflated. TSK. I thought there'd be something actually useful. I stood up, with no intention of taking the gold and jewelry. Chen Yulan, who had just entered, was about to ask something when she saw a safe full of gold bars and jewelry. My God. So many gold bars. Chen Yulan's family wasn't poor, but she felt they weren't as rich as this family. And as a Chinese person, no one can resist gold. Is something wrong? I searched the cabinet again, and it was just full of clothes. Just then, my eyes lit up. I spotted some clothes with the tags still on. I've never worn things like dresses. The clothes Wen Yining and the others gave me were all convenient things like jeans and casual pants. Chen Yulan struggled to tear her gaze away from the gold. My lord. I've gathered all the edible supplies. The seafood and greens in the fridge have all spoiled. They're inedible. I pointed to the row of clothes with tags. Pick out all the clothes that still have tags. Yes, my lord. Chun Yulan moved efficiently, gathering the clothes. There weren't many with tags, so she finished quickly. Everything was piled up in the living room. I have to say, this family had quite a lot of supplies. Vacuum-packed rice, 2 5 kilograms bags. All-purpose flour, 2 5 kilograms bags. Then there was some regular rice, which Chun Yulan packed into clean plastic bags. Besides the rice, there was an opened bag of flour, about 5 or 6 pounds left. Then half a box of rice noodles, a crate of milk, a pack of noodles, 2 large packs of instant noodles, 55g each, 2 large packs of instant noodles, a small bundle of sweet potato noodles, a bag of lonko vermicelli and a jug of oil, along with various jars of seasonings.
I glansed over.
Kept one dress for myself and asked, "Didn't you take the gold?" I clearly saw it. When Chun Yulan saw that gold, her eyes were literally glowing. Chun Yulan was stunned. With a wave of my hand, the things in the living room vanished into thin air. Hearing my question, she stammered, "The gold is too heavy. I can't carry it. Even if I can't, it should be a simple wave of the hand for my lord." I didn't intend to care, but then I remembered I wanted to taste Chun Yulan's cooking later. So, in a rare moment of kindness, "If you want that gold, I'll get it for you." Chun Yulan thought about it and decided to take it, not because she wanted it for herself, but because she felt that my lord seemed to have no concept of wealth. It's the apocalypse now. Money is useless, but gold and jewelry, these might become the new hard currency. My lord might need them in the future. As she thought this, Chun Yulan didn't realize that her mindset had shifted from just clinging to power to wholeheartedly caring for and serving me. Perhaps my mysterious and unpredictable methods were unconsciously conquering her. After moving the gold out, Chun Yulan found that I had swapped my all-black sportswear for a white dress. The hem reached just above my knees, and the cinched waist made my figure look slimmer. The dress had no unnecessary embellishments, just a few small, exquisite details, making it look simple and elegant. Below that was a pair of beautiful silver high heels. The heels were very high, about 7 or 8 centimeters. "My lord."
I glänste her.
"Just these?" Seeing her nod blankly, I waved my hand, and the gold vanished instantly. "Let's go." I led the way, while Chun Yulan observed carefully from behind. Chun Yulan observed from behind. Seeing that I walked perfectly steady, even in such high heels, she breathed a sigh of relief. My lord truly is my lord. Even in shoes that high, I walked faster and steadier than she ever could. From then on, Chun Yulan's jaw remained dropped, clearing the building floor by floor. No matter how many zombies there were, wherever my blade passed, none survived. Even the one on the 8th floor, the level 2 zombie Li Chang had been terrified of, only lasted 3 seconds under my sword. As for the other zombies, they were finished in a single second. Chun Yulan went from trembling in fear and slouching to walking with her head held high. Looking at those foul-smelling, hideous and terrifying zombies, she didn't feel as scared anymore. Indeed, as long as you have strength, or rather, as long as the thigh you cling to is powerful enough, even the most terrifying things are fragile. I cleared down to the 1st floor without seeing a single living soul. But according to Chun Yulan, there actually were people here before. But because of the powerful zombie on the 8th floor, no one dared to go down. Once they ran out of supplies, they went up. In the end, most of them became Li Chang's pawns. Once downstairs, I used a word spirit to manifest a lifeboat. There weren't many zombies in the complex, so I took care of them in passing. I hadn't even entered the hospital yet, but the gains from this building allowed my strength to recover to about 10%. I was glad I didn't keep following Lu Chen and his group. Those people only go where there are fewer zombies, mostly sticking to the suburbs and small towns, taking paths with the fewest people and zombies. They would never come to a downtown area like this. At the rate they were going, when would I ever recover this 10% of my power? I steered the lifeboat toward the hospital opposite. "I'm going to the hospital across the street in a moment. Are you coming with me, or waiting for me outside? I've cleared most of the zombies around here, so you won't be in any danger outside. If you do encounter a zombie, just run toward the hospital. After all, I'll be clearing the hospital from the outside in." "Master, I'll follow you." Chun Yulan replied hastily, terrified that I might abandon her. The hospital was indeed crawling with zombies. The moment Chun Yulan and I stepped inside, it was as if a switch had been flipped for those zombies, and they all lunged at us. Unfortunately, due to the resistance of the water, their movements were clumsy. While I was using my sword to slay the zombies, I caught a glimpse of Chun Yulan's envious and admiring gaze. "You want to try too?" I said. "I need a lightweight steel blade capable of slicing through zombies." The next second, a steel blade appeared out of thin air and was handed to Chun Yulan, who froze in surprise. "Master, this is the apocalypse. It's better to rely on yourself than others. I won't protect you for the rest of your life," I said. my tone cold and ruthless. The zombies in the hospital were hideous, because the outbreak here had been more severe, filled with countless biting incidents. Plus, because they had been soaking in the water for days, their bodies were bloated and swollen, like waterlogged corpses. Chun Yulan took the steel blade, fighting back the urge to vomit as she stood up. A stray zombie appeared before her, its upper and lower lips gone, revealing teeth stained in a mix of blood and green rot. Half of its nasal bridge was missing, the left side a pale gray, and the eyeless socket was sealed with a thick blood scab, with numerous white maggots writhing upon it. Due to the mutations of the apocalypse, these maggots were generally larger than those before the fall. They clamped their mouths onto the zombie's rotting flesh, reveling in the meat slurry. The stench of decay was like long rotten eggs, pungent and nauseating. Even after living in the apocalypse for so long, Chun Yulan still couldn't stand the smell, constantly forcing herself to endure it. As the zombie drew closer, the stench hit her like a physical blow to the head. She was almost paralyzed. Just then, a faint voice drifted from beside her. Aim for the head like slicing a watermelon, split it right down the middle. If you lack the strength, just smash the head. Chun Yulan couldn't help but let out a scream, gripping the steel blade tightly with both hands, and sliced straight through the center of the zombie's face. She actually split the zombie's head in two, revealing the crystal core inside. Chun Yulan's eyes lit up. Ignoring the unsettling sensation of having killed someone, she reached out and grabbed the core. Thud! The zombie's body collapsed into the water. Looking at the beautiful crystal core in her hand, her eyes grew red with emotion. She wiped the core against her clothes and handed it to me with reverence. Master, here. No need. I gave it a disgusted glance. The core wasn't wiped clean, and wiping it on dirty clothes had only made it filthier. Master, crystal cores are more valuable than gold in the apocalypse. Keep it for yourself. Master, you. Chun Yulan's eyes welled up again. So Master is actually such a kind person. How could she have thought Master wasn't a good person before? I was clearly just not good with words, clearly just hated evil, and just had a sharp tongue but a soft heart. Facing her grateful gaze, I was utterly bewildered, not quite understanding the logic of these mortals. With me clearing the path ahead, occasionally letting one or two grotesque, terrifying zombies through for Chun Yulan to slaughter. From the beginning, Chun Yulan went from uncontrollable physical nausea to being able to face these hideous creatures head-on, efficiently wielding the steel blade to split zombie heads in two like watermelons. She had studied culinary arts, so she had enough strength. Coupled with her incredibly sharp steel blade, the result was more than the sum of its parts. She gradually became adept at dispatching zombies. In the vast hospital, there were 4 level 2 zombies. Compared to the amount of foot traffic, this number was actually quite low, but it was better than nothing. I raised my hand and dealt with them. There were many buildings in the hospital. No matter how fast I couldn't clear them all in one day. After clearing 3 buildings, the sky began to darken. Nighttime zombies were slightly stronger than those during the day. Although it made no difference to me, killing all day had indeed become a bit tedious. Master, it's almost dark. Let's find a room across the way to stay in. The complex across the street was a luxury residential area built in recent years. The complex wasn't very large overall, with only 10 buildings in total, except for the one Chun Yulan lived in. I hadn't cleared the other buildings. I have to admit, there are truly a lot of zombies in these bustling downtown areas. My strength has recovered by 10% now, so I'm not in such a rush to clear the zombies. Taking Chun Yulan back to the complex via lifeboat, I found an apartment on the 4th floor to stay in temporarily. Chun Yulan thought about the ingredients cleared today and asked, Master, what are we having for dinner? Boil some eggs for yourself. I'll have snacks. In the snack basket I found earlier, it had refilled even after I'd eaten quite a bit. Follow me to the kitchen. Chun Yulan followed me into the kitchen, where, with a wave of my hand, the gas stove ignited. 2 eggs and a bottle of water appeared in the empty pot. You're fine boiling eggs on your own, right? No, I'm fine. I carried the basket to the dining table, looking at the basket full of snacks, picking through them. I'll start with these spicy dried noodles. They smell quite good. Through the glass door of the kitchen, Chun Yulan watched that frail young girl in the white dress and felt a warmth in her heart. Although eggs were a common food in normal times, she hadn't eaten any in a very long time. Once the simple boiled eggs were done, the fire extinguished automatically. Chun Yulan brought the eggs out and placed them on the table. Master, are we going back to the hospital to slay zombies tomorrow? Today, with my help, she had killed 5 zombies, obtaining 5 crystal cores. It wasn't much, but it was a giant step forward into the apocalypse. We're not going. My strength has recovered quite a bit, and I can't be bothered to go out of my way to kill zombies. You mentioned before that you're good at cooking seafood. I want some seafood. Where can we find any? We'll have to go to Y City. Y City? If I remember correctly, Y City seems to be the capital of Nan Province. It's in a different direction from Dongcheng and G City. I'll need to head back. Yes. Y City has a developed tourism industry, and it's coastal with several ports. It has the most seafood. I just wonder if that seafood has mutated. As Chen Yulan thought about it, she suddenly remembered when Li Chong was clearing the building, hearing that the resident on the 20th floor had a toy poodle. That poodle had been tiny before the apocalypse, but after the fall it had grown as large as a golden retriever. But that poodle only grew in size. It didn't develop any special abilities. Seafood should be the same. Crawfish became lobsters. As for that dog, without the power to protect itself in the apocalypse, can only become someone's food. That couple on the 20th floor kept worrying about their dog son. In the end, they were killed by Li Chong. Mutated. I've heard Lu Chen and the others mention this. I took a bite of a crispy noodle snack, chewing as I spoke. The South Province base seems to be built in Y City. I heard those sea creatures have come ashore to hunt humans. Chen Yulan turned pale. Exactly. She only thought about the food getting bigger. But what about the carnivorous creatures in the sea, like sharks and whales? Scary enough on a normal day. After the apocalypse, Chen Yulan couldn't imagine how huge they'd become. After all, a poodle could mutate to the size of a golden retriever. But so what? No one can stop me from eating what I want. Those words were light, as if they carried no weight, but Chen Yulan felt dominance and confidence in them. I glanced at Chen Yulan, finished the crispy noodles, then the rice crust. In a great mood, I picked my next snack from the snack basket, looking completely childish. But only Chen Yulan knew how powerful I actually am. Even if sharks and whales and other sea creatures came ashore to hunt humans, so what? In front of her boss, it's just a matter of 1 second or 3 seconds. Level 1 zombie, 1 second. Level 2 zombie, 3 seconds. Chen Yulan cherished her 2 eggs, got clean sheets and duvet covers from me, and cleaned the whole room thoroughly, especially the bed, which she made spotless. Boss, everything is ready. Understood. Let's sleep early. Tomorrow we head to Y City. Tonight was much quieter. It was the most comfortable and peaceful sleep Chen Yulan had since the apocalypse. No words were exchanged. Early the next morning, after a simple breakfast of eggs and milk, the two went downstairs to leave. Just as they left the neighborhood, they saw a vast patch of red from afar. About 5 lifeboats, packed with people. They all wore uniform combat gear, holding guns. One man stood at the front, holding binoculars. Captain, there are 2 women ahead, holding steel knives. No zombies in sight. Still no zombies. This is H City's top-tier hospital. It's too strange. A man next to the binoculars, tall with long legs, resolute features, standing straight, looked over toward me. They are the J-Team from the South Province base, codenamed Wolf Fong Special Forces. 10 people in total, following orders from the base. They acted as the vanguard to clear the way to the hospital and assess the situation. They thought the mission would be a breeze. But the closer they got to the hospital, the fewer zombies they found. It was truly strange. Meanwhile, Chen Yulan and I also spotted the people in the distance immediately. Chen Yulan got nervous and immediately gripped her steel knife. Boss, there are so many people. They have abilities. Chen Yulan couldn't see them clearly, but I could see everything. They aren't bad people. In the original owner's memory, these people are heroes. Just seeing their uniforms brings peace to every Chinese heart. I stopped steering the lifeboat forward. As they got closer, Chen Yulan saw their uniforms and said excitedly, "It's people. People have come to save us." They accelerated toward us, and the 2 sides finally met. The captain at the front spoke first. "Hello, comrades. We are the Wolf Fong Special Forces from the South Province base. I am the captain. Hello, soldier uncles. We are residents of this neighborhood." Chen Yulan pointed to the neighborhood. "We happen to be heading to the South Province base today. How's the situation there? Are there many seafoods?" The first part was normal, but what was with the many seafoods part? Also, the person in front of him was nearly 40, and she called a 28-year-old guy uncle. Well, he was used to it. More importantly, the person before him. He thought he was hallucinating from afar, but now he realized she really was wearing a white dress and sky-high heels. Fine rain fell on me, as if it landed, yet as if it didn't, because my clothes didn't get wet at all. Han Feng composed himself and looked at me beside Chen Yulan. "There are quite a few ability experts at the base. Safety can be guaranteed. If you want to go to the South Province base, you can wait for us to finish the mission, and we'll take you back, or wait for our colleagues to arrive, and go back with them." Chen Yulan looked at me, without answering. Whether to go with the soldiers wasn't her decision to make. I glanced at them. "You're here to clear the way, right? What are you looking for in the hospital? Maybe I can help." Han Feng was surprised by my intuition, that I actually guessed their mission. He quickly asked, "Comrade, do you know what's going on with this hospital? Why are there so few zombies? As far as the eye can see, not a single zombie is visible." "I don't know." I looked innocent. "I'm just a resident of this neighborhood. There were so many zombies before. I didn't dare come out. I only came out these past few days, after noticing the zombies seemed gone."
Han Feng keenly notiserad.
That while I said I didn't know, Chen Yulan's expression beside me didn't hide her emotions well. They must know something. They're just not saying it. "Do you really know nothing?" The zombies suddenly vanished, and no sounds were heard inside. No, Han Feng was now certain. This girl must be hiding something. He thought for a moment and said, the way back to the base is dangerous. Do you want to wait until we finish our mission and head back with us? We thought about it too. I'm thinking of leaving in a couple of days. Can you finish your mission within 2 days? If there's someone to protect me, and I don't have to lift a finger, then it's just pure luxury. I wasn't born for hard labor. On the contrary, I absolutely love the finer things in life. Not sure, but I'll notify my colleagues soon. They should arrive later. You can choose to leave with them then. We'll see. Since I have protection, I took out a small rattan stool from my space and sat down. Seeing this, Chun Yulan, who was beside me, quickly took an umbrella from her backpack to shade me. Beside Han Feng was a man with binoculars around his neck. He looked young, probably in his early 20s, with fair skin and a bright smile, youthful and refined, not at all like the rough soldiers people imagine. He looked more like a naive college student. He couldn't help but ask, "Are you two mother and daughter?" And Ning was genuinely curious about this middle-aged woman. She felt as if she were seeing a servant from the DQ Imperial Palace. Before I could speak, Chun Yulan waved her hands in denial. No, don't talk nonsense. How could I possibly be the mother of someone like the Lord? After thinking for a while, Chun Yulan couldn't find a suitable word. I am merely a servant. Good grief, just as I thought. She actually admitted to being a servant. And the Lord? What kind of title is that? One is a lord, the other a servant. Could they really have traveled from DQ? Seeing they weren't willing to reveal anything, Han Feng stopped questioning. He hadn't forgotten his mission. Follow behind us. We're entering the hospital now. Han Feng turned around, his voice steady. Attention everyone. Target hospital. All hands on high alert. Prepare to move out. Everyone responded in unison. Lifeboats drifted into the hospital. The interior was hauntingly empty, with only various things floating on the water. Cars, e-bikes, zombie corpses, and many unidentified objects. My lifeboat trailed at the back. I sat on my stool, with Chun Yulan standing beside me, holding the umbrella. If it weren't for the surroundings, one would think a rich young lady was touring a lake. The Wolf Fong Special Forces remained on high alert. After entering the outermost outpatient building, they found it filled with zombie corpses. This should have been one of the most dangerous places post-apocalypse. Yet now, not a single living zombie was in sight. Who on earth has the power to clear out all the zombies in the outpatient building? Even if the South Province base poured all its strength into it, it wouldn't be this easy. Not that it's impossible, but the cost-benefit ratio is too low. The risk far outweighs the reward. Places this dangerous are usually only targeted once one becomes stronger. That's when they'd think of attacking. Their coming here was a last resort. The base has some research talent, but they need high-end precision equipment. Ordinary clinics wouldn't have such gear. Only a top-tier hospital would. As for why they came to H City instead of Y City, analysis showed that the hospitals in Y City were far more dangerous. H City was relatively safer than Y City. As for smaller cities, it's not that they don't exist, but they are too far from Y City. Who knows what would happen during transport? In short, after weighing everything, they chose this hospital in H City. Everyone paired up for a full search. After pairing off, they scattered to search the outpatient building. Han Feng and Ning were a team. He turned to me and said, "Follow us, or do as you please. Don't worry, we'll call you if there's danger." I didn't stand on ceremony. After giving me a deep look, Han Feng gave a signal and went to search the outpatient building with a Ning. There were 9 floors in total. Searching floor by floor, they found that there truly wasn't a single zombie. Not even a scrap of supplies was found. Without a doubt, someone had already cleared this hospital before them. Police then, wouldn't the things they want be gone already? After all, besides medicine and medical equipment, there's nothing else worth coming for. The cost-benefit ratio is truly low. Could there be another unknown major power in the South Province besides the base? The medicine in both the Chinese and Western pharmacies was gone. Han Feng thought about the purpose of the trip and took us straight to the equipment building. The equipment building was right next to the outpatient building. The equipment inside was exactly what they wanted, but the equipment building, like the outpatient building, was empty. The equipment had been hauled away to the inpatient comprehensive building. The inpatient comprehensive building was also empty. This time, it seemed they had come for nothing. Just as Han Feng thought the entire hospital was empty, in the 4th building, the administration building, they finally saw some long-lost zombies. "Captain, what now?" Ning asked while slaying the zombies. There were relatively few zombies in the administration building, but few is still too many. Other than getting crystals, slaying zombies offered no other benefit to clearing this place. Instead, they might encounter unknown dangers. "Let's go." Han Feng and the others retreated while fighting off the zombies. They quickly boarded the lifeboats and sped away from the hospital. After leaving the hospital, there were no zombies outside either. Temporarily safe.
Han Feng flov ned slightly.
There must be another major power in the South Province, and we didn't even know about it. Their strength must be formidable. Medical equipment and such are useless to ordinary people. Hearing this, Chen Yulan felt a bit guilty, yet felt a sense of shared pride. What major power? There is only the Lord. Those medicines and equipment were long since stored away in the Lord's space. If the Wolfang unit had come a day earlier, they probably would have run straight into the Lord. I'm quite mischievous myself, seeing the Wolfang unit there, spinning all those conspiracy theories. I just kept my mouth shut. Change of plans. Let's head back to the base first. Han Feng made the decision. Naturally, no one objected. Spent the whole morning struggling. It's almost noon. Since it's safe here, everyone decided to find some shelter from the rain and have lunch before heading out. The rain has let up a bit now. It should stop by tomorrow at the latest. For humanity, this is actually good news. Han Feng's squad had a space ability user. The man was quite dark-skinned, flashing a bright white smile when he laughed. With ordinary features, he looked honest and simple. He pulled out their prepared lunch from his space. The lunch was just vegetable-wrapped rice, lettuce wrapping rice balls, with some filling. Couldn't tell if it was fish or shrimp. It was actually quite a feast. They originally had 2 rice balls each, but now with me and Chen Yulan, they naturally had to share.
Han Feng, stomach grovling,
looked determined. Give my share to them. The rice balls were about the size of a woman's fist. Plenty for a girl with a small appetite. No need, Captain Han. We have our own food. The next second, Han Feng saw me wave my hand, and a pile of things appeared on the lifeboat. His eyes lit up. A space-type ability user. This is an incredibly rare ability. Even if it's only for storage right now, it's still insanely useful, especially for a military unit like theirs, who are constantly on missions. Having a space-type user would be incredibly convenient. Chen Yulan placed a small pot on a metal rack, then poured bottled water into it. She put the lid on. Just as Han Feng was staring in confusion, a fireball appeared out of nowhere and ignited under the pot. A fire-type ability user. He looked at me, his eyes shining even brighter. A dual-type ability user. Anyone with dual abilities in the base is without exception a top-tier expert, although leveling up requires twice the crystal cores. Having an extra ability means having another trump card. In battle, whether against humans or zombies, it opens up more possibilities, a better chance of survival. The others stopped eating their rice balls. Seeing this, they all looked at me in astonishment. Anning immediately invited me. Hey gorgeous, want to join our base's army? The benefits are top-notch. Anning, watch your language. Got it. Anning quickly adjusted. Comrade, would you like to join our base's army? The benefits are excellent, and we'll even find you a boyfriend. She changes it here, and adds something weird there. Huh? But Han Feng didn't say anything more. Anning is young, so it's normal for her to be flighty. No need to join, but I heard your base is very close to the port, right? I'm very interested in the seafood there. Just as I was speaking, a strange, delicious aroma wafted through the air, catching everyone's attention. Chen Yulan put the instant noodles into the pot of boiling water. Then she added the seasoning, along with some eggs and ham. The sound of the bubbling water made their stomachs growl in response. I didn't have time to care about the distant seafood, and immediately focused on the pot. After cooking for a while, Chen Yulan used chopsticks to serve the noodles into bowls. Those eggs and sausages all went into my bowl. Add an egg and a sausage for yourself too. I prepared enough for 2. But it smells so good now, I can't bear to share what's in my bowl. With a wave of my hand, I pulled an egg and a sausage from my space for Chen Yulan. I took the big bowl, took a deep breath, and sighed. So fragrant. These modern seasoning packets are truly amazing. I grabbed a mouthful of noodles with my chopsticks and slurped them in. Suddenly, a burst of savory, spicy flavor exploded in my mouth. Chen Yulan is truly a chef. The noodles were cooked perfectly, not soggy at all, but with a great chew. I devoured the noodles like a storm. My frustration about coming to this world vanished. Seriously, why didn't I come sooner? Anning smelled the aroma while eating her tasteless rice ball. Seafood rice balls sound great, but they were truly sick of them. After all, no matter how good something is, eating it every day is unbearable. Something like instant noodles, they hadn't had in ages. Not to mention this stuff, the taste might be ordinary, but the smell is absolutely heavenly. After slurping up every last noodle, I let out a satisfied burp. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a group of people stealing glances. In a great mood, I decided to be generous. Do you guys want some? We have more. Hearing my invitation, many of them secretly swallowed hard, but they firmly refused on the surface. No, we have food, and we can't take a single thing from you. After lunch, Han Feng and his team were devastated to see Chen Yulan's luxury of using bottled water to wash the pot. Isn't it raining? There's rainwater right there. Why not use that? They could guess why she didn't. She must have plenty of supplies. And in this world, supplies usually equal strength. Due to some unexpected circumstances, Han Feng's group was in a huge rush to get back to the city. They took the same route back to the base. They had scouted it on the way here, so there was basically no great danger. Whenever they encountered a zombie, they took it out with one shot. If one shot didn't work, they'd add another. From H city to Y city, Han Feng and his team were utterly tortured. Not because of any danger, but because every time they ate, they had those dry rice balls, while we were feasting on all sorts of delicacies. Tears almost streamed from their mouths. Luckily, they wiped them away quickly, so no one noticed. Once they reached Y city, their own turf, Han Feng and the others were even more at home, bypassing all the dangerous areas. They soon returned to the South Province base. The South Province base was built near the port, or rather a large area carved out along the coast. This place was undoubtedly dangerous, because it was so close to the ocean, but there was a reason they built it here despite the risk. Naturally, there was a purpose. If the base weren't built here, to stop marine creatures from invading the land, those living inland would be in even greater danger. Only by building it here could they immediately isolate the threats from the sea right at the source, not letting them come ashore, adding more danger to humans who are already struggling to survive. The base was built solidly, surrounded by walls forged from various steels and metals. The entrance for humans faced away from the sea. The gate facing the ocean was less of a gate and more of a battlefield. The base was built on high ground. This design was originally intended to repel the ocean. I didn't expect it to be so useful against these floods. It's an unconventional advantage. Once inside the base, lifeboats are no longer needed. I was wearing high heels, in a beautiful white dress. It would have been normal before the apocalypse, but now looking so pristine, with a servant holding an umbrella over me, looking like a pampered heiress on a stroll. I attracted a lot of attention. There were many people at the base entrance. I practically drew every single eye instantly. Not far away, a guy in his early 20s had just finished trading. He looked up and saw me in my sky-high heels. Is she out of her mind? The guy muttered to himself, though his eyes held a hint of undisguised envy. After all, anyone daring to dress like this either has enough power of their own, or has a powerful background. Others wouldn't even dare to try. Of course, that didn't stop him from complaining. The guy quickly returned to his quarters, where, in the small kitchen, another guy was cooking seafood porridge, looking absolutely miserable. Bro, the guy said, walking into the kitchen. Guess what I saw while trading just now? Hearing this, Lu Chen immediately shifted his gaze to the other's hand.
Instant noodles.
You actually managed to trade for noodles. You eat the porridge. I'm having the noodles. No way, bro. We split them half and half. The guy immediately refused. After a bit of back and forth, Lu Chen, using his status as the boss, claimed 70% of the noodles, leaving the remaining 30% for the lackey to cook. Only then did Lu Chen ask Feng Su, "You said you saw something?" "Bro, I saw a woman at the base entrance. You'll never guess what she looked like." "What could she look like?" "2 eyes. 1 mouth. What else? Does she have an extra eye? Is she some kind of freak?" Lu Chuan's eyes were fixed on the noodles in the pot, answering nonchalantly, "Can't you actually try to guess?" Before Lu Chuan could guess again, Feng Su couldn't hold it in and blurted it out. The woman was wearing a beautiful white dress, wearing sky-high heels, with a middle-aged woman holding an umbrella for her. She was spotless, like some rich heiress on a royal tour. Is she insane? The dress is one thing, but high heels? Isn't she just asking for death? Lu Chuan had seen many women in the base. No matter how delicate or powerful they were, at most, a bit fond of cleanliness. Even if they did wear dresses, they were the kind that covered everything. After the apocalypse, women without power easily became playthings for men. Many women in the base intentionally looked old or ugly. Tell me about it. I thought the same thing. She was with a guard, probably the daughter of some leader in the base. Lu Chuan said enviously. Sigh. I used to think I was born lucky, but now I realize I was mistaken. The ones born into power now are the truly lucky ones. As he spoke, Lu Chuan couldn't help but think of his half-sister.
I'm socially anxious.
And my body is so frail, she probably didn't survive, even if she did. But the one Lu Chuan was thinking of, me, was currently in the identity processing hall, registering for an entry and exit permit. The process was simple. They gave me an electronic watch, which I just had to swipe when entering. Water, electricity, and network were available in the base, but using them required a certain fee. After registering my identity, Han Feng and Ning led me and Chen Yulan to the nearby registration desk. This registration was for supernatural abilities, and housing was assigned based on your strength. After Han Feng finished explaining, he told the staff member Su Ran, a dual ability user of space and fire. After saying that, he looked at me. "Do you have any other abilities?" I shook my head. Although Han Feng thought I was lying, he had no proof, so he had to tell the staff, "Just register these two." The staff member was very excited, looking at me with sparkling eyes. "Miss Su, please demonstrate your abilities." I casually took the pen holder in front of the staff member into my space, then brought it back out. Then, a ball of fire appeared in my palm. A real dual ability user. The staff member was thrilled. Our base has gained another expert. Others who were processing their papers were deeply envious seeing this. Some silently cast aside their dark intentions, while others wondered if they could cling to a powerful patron. Their thoughts varied. I ignored all those looks. Admiration, jealousy, hatred. There are plenty of people who'd kill me with a glance. This is nothing. As for Chen Yulan, she had no abilities. Only some cooking skills, and the ability to clean. She had no other skills. But since she was with me, she could naturally stay in the same place. After the staff member asked for my preferences, they gave me the keys. Han Feng glanced at the address and said, "Registration area. Let's go, we'll take you there." Registration area. We need to report back soon anyway. When we were at the base entrance, Han Feng had let everyone except Ning return to report their findings. Thank you. Getting into Han Feng's military off-road vehicle, Ning gave me a very detailed introduction to the base's situation. For instance, there were several trading posts, which served as simple markets. Although there were several, the most crowded one was still at the base entrance. Trading was simple, primarily based on bartering, with crystal cores as the currency. Gold was also useful, but not very valuable. Much of the gold could only be traded for a tiny bit of supplies. However, compared to other jewelry or money, gold held its value better. The base authorities also set up an official supply exchange, but the officials only accepted crystal cores. How many supplies one core could get was clearly listed at the exchange. As for the seafood I've been craving, it's the cheapest thing here. After all, they fight wars with sea creatures every other day. There's simply too much seafood to consume, to the point where people are sick of it. Unfortunately, there aren't many flight ability users in the base. When bartering with other places, the cost of flight labor and time is too high. This caused the price of everything except seafood to skyrocket. Besides the market, there's the mission hall. As the name suggests, it's where missions are posted and accepted. Everyone can take on missions based on their ability level to earn crystals or supplies. Anyone can also, based on their own financial status, post corresponding missions. This is the most bustling area of the base. People are constantly rushing in and out of the mission hall every day. While I was talking, the car arrived in front of a villa. The streets here are surprisingly clean and tidy. Many mutated flowers are planted along the roadside, each competing in beauty. They look beautiful, sure, but they're also a bit creepy. As I looked at them, Han Feng explained, "Don't worry. The plants grown inside the base are all safe. Per my request, my house is located very close to the battlefield. It's a 4-story duplex villa. The second floor is one unit. The first floor comes with a small yard. The third and fourth floors are another unit, and the fourth floor has a small rooftop terrace. I chose the first and second floors for easier access. Normally, with my dual-type abilities, I wouldn't be able to live in such a nice place. Not because I lack the strength, but because I haven't contributed anything to the base yet. It's just that the base is desperate for experts, and they really want to recruit me to stay, so they didn't sweat the small stuff like food and housing. They just want their investment to pay off. Even if it doesn't, they lose nothing. In short, you might make a profit, but they'll never lose." After dropping me off, Han Feng left me his contact information. Then he hurriedly drove away. Chen Yulan took the key and opened the door. The yard was overgrown with weeds, and the inside was covered in dust. It looked like no one had cleaned it in ages. Just as I was about to speak, I saw Chen Yulan roll up her sleeves, full of energy, saying, "My lady, please take a rest, or go for a stroll. I'll handle the cleaning here. I guarantee it'll be spotless." Then I'll go for a walk. I didn't refuse, although I could make the house clean with a single word. But now that I'm the boss, I really can't be too nice to the workers. Otherwise, they'll start wanting more. They'll get cocky. I need to learn how to manipulate them, to let them know that giving them work already makes me a very conscientious boss. I left the necessary supplies for Chen Yulan. I checked the electronic watch on my wrist. It was only 10:10 a.m., still quite early. I can head to the market and trade for some seafood. Tomorrow, I'll go to the battlefield to catch some fresh ones. Kill them and eat them fresh. The taste will be amazing. From where I'm staying to the base entrance is actually quite far. If I walked, it would take about an hour. Fortunately, every area in the base has a ride-hailing service. After operating my electronic watch, I clicked on the car service. After waiting at the door for a while, an electric tricycle appeared before me. Seeing me, the young guy's eyes widened, and he started stuttering. Lady, did you call the ride?" I got in the car, feeling the wind blowing through the open tricycle, and I felt quite good. "To the biggest market." "Yes, my lady." The young guy started the tricycle, speeding along the way. He wouldn't dare have any inappropriate thoughts about me. Anyone who can live here and dare to dress like this must be incredibly strong. Feeling the sea breeze, I asked him, "The seafood in the base should be fresh, right?" "Very fresh. Most of it comes from the daily battles with sea creatures. If there are no attacks on a given day, then no one in the base bothers to go fishing. First, it's dangerous. Second, everyone is sick of eating it. Ability users are fine, as their physical constitutions are strong. But for ordinary people, too much seafood isn't good for the body." Seeing that I was quite approachable, the young guy immediately opened up. Without me having to say much, he started spilling everything, like beans from a pod. telling me all about the base. I must admit, it was quite an eye-opening experience. The young guy drove fast, and with few cars on the road, we arrived at the market quickly. People here had all sorts of expressions on their faces. Since the mission hall was right next door, many people who had just finished their missions came straight to the market to trade. When I appeared, I unexpectedly attracted a lot of attention. Hey bro, look! It's that woman. After finishing his instant noodles, Lu Chen looked at the pot of leftover seafood porridge and felt that he couldn't go on like this. So he and Fong Su went to the mission hall to take on tasks. He is a speed ability user. Fong Su is a water ability user. To be honest, speedsters aren't very useful in the apocalypse. At most, they just run faster than others when escaping. As for water ability users, they are actually quite important. But unfortunately, the South Province base doesn't lack water since it's right by the ocean. So the two of them had always been stuck in an awkward place. They had been living pretty miserably. They can't take missions with high crystal rewards, and they look down on missions with low rewards. They were truly overestimating themselves. Now, after being beaten down by too much seafood, they finally faced reality and decided to get rich through hard work. Just as they arrived at the mission hall, Fong Su's sharp eyes caught a glimpse of white. He looked closer, and wasn't it that crazy woman they'd encountered before? Lu Chen was calculating how many missions he needed to level up his ability to level 2, when Fong Su pulled him to look nearby. Wow, someone's actually that suicidal. Just look at the way those men are staring at her. They look like they want to devour her. I wonder how she... Before he could finish speaking, that suicidal woman turned her head and looked at him. As their eyes met, holy crap! Am I seeing things? She really dared to come to the market alone wearing a dress. She might be powerful, but she should know there's always someone stronger. Beyond the sky, there is always another sky. Can she really call herself the strongest in the base? If not, it is better to keep a low profile and grow quietly. Otherwise, Fong Su covered his face, staring at Lu Chen in disbelief. Bro, why did you hit me? Watch your mouth. My sister is the strongest. What does her wearing a dress have to do with you? Fong Su was completely dumbfounded. Bro, are you trying to cling to that woman's thigh? Did you finally decide to become her pretty boy and skip 20 years of struggling? Fong Su looked at Lu Chen with a complicated expression. In his mind, his brother was the kind of man who would never bend to poverty or power. But now, he looked like a flashy peacock, strutting straight toward that woman. Sure, compared with the powerful figures in the base, this woman was much prettier, but still, he should not go that far. Look how thin she was. Touching her would feel like touching bones. Fang Su insisted that he was absolutely not saying this out of jealousy. Some people refuse to live off a woman because they simply do not want to. But some people, do you think they really do not want to? No, they just cannot get the chance. Fang Su was exactly the kind who could not. Thinking of this, he hurried over as well. What if that powerful woman did not like flashy men and preferred a slightly handsome guy like him instead? I did not expect that with just one casual glance, I would see the younger brother the original owner had been desperate to find. In the original owner's heart, even her own mother was not as important as this younger brother. But no matter how important he was, I was not the original owner. So when Lu Chen rushed toward me, I shifted slightly to the side, and he immediately lunged at empty air. Lu Chen did not care at all. Instead, he said excitedly, "Sis, it really is you. Why are you wearing a dress? You look amazing." The original owner almost never wore dresses. She was too thin. Whenever she went out, people would point and whisper. They said she was skinny as a skeleton. Fang Su, who had just run over, looked at Lu Chen and thought, that is not what you said earlier. I really did not expect this. Bro, turns out you have the heart of a shameless simp too. I looked up at him. Why are you here? No wonder Lu Chen could not find him. So Lu Chen had actually run all the way to Y City. It is all his fault. Lu Chen pointed at Fang Su, who had followed him over. The night before the apocalypse, he got dumped. He said he wanted to see the sea, so I drove with him to Y City. We had just arrived when a bunch of zombies suddenly appeared on the street, biting people. The virus swept through the whole city in an instant. We stayed in a hotel and awakened abilities so we could protect ourselves. Later, after the entire city fell, the base rescue team brought us to the South Province base. I thought all of you would come here. Then you thought wrong. Lu Chen went to G City. Lu Chen and the others all thought South Province base was smaller than the G City base and did not have as good a location, so they all went to G City. How do you know that? Lu Chen was a little surprised. Sis, did you meet Big Brother? He came to my place with his companions and found me. After that, we searched near the Polytechnic University for you, but we did not find you. Because of the weather, we decided to head to the G City base. Lu Chen quickly pressed me for more. What happened after that? Later, we reached a fork in the road. I wanted to take the more dangerous route. Lu Chen did not agree. He refused. Lu Chen still did not agree. So in the end, we went our separate ways. Lu Chen seemed to ignore the words dangerous route. He instantly exploded. Lu Chen just abandoned you like that? I am seriously speechless. And he still calls himself your brother? Sure enough, without blood ties you cannot rely on him. You and I are the real close ones. When he said that, he completely forgot that he and Lu Chen were also half-brothers. Next time I see him, I will beat him flat. Lu Chen sounded fierce. Humph. Before the apocalypse, I could not beat him. But after the apocalypse, that might not be true anymore. I awakened an ability, and it is speed type. Lu Chen awakened a fire ability. When I separated from him, he was already a level 2 ability user. Fine. At least I can run fast. I will not get beaten. Sis, are you okay? How did you get here? I flew here. Fang Su, standing nearby, said in shock. Sister, you are actually a flight ability user? That ability is extremely valuable. No wonder you dare to wear high heels. So it is because you can fly. Then can I touch your wings? I am just too curious. Ow. Why did you hit me? Lu Chen glared at him. Why do you think I hit you, you scumbag? Stay away from my sister. You even want to touch my sister's wings? Why don't you go to hell? Fang Su made a zipping gesture over his mouth. Only then did Lu Chen let him off.
Cease.
What are you doing here? Are you here to trade for supplies? I still have a few crystal cores. Take them. The few crystal cores Lu Chen mentioned were exactly 3 cores. They were truly scarce. They had to be used both to upgrade abilities and to exchange for supplies. Zombies were not hard to kill, but the ones nearby had already been cleared out. Even the scattered ones had been wiped out. If he wanted more crystal cores, he would have to search places, like houses that had not been explored yet. He had not joined a team either, so it was normal for him to be this poor. I glanced at the crystal cores in his hand and felt a little speechless. Seeing that I said nothing, Lu Chen thought I was moved. He patted his thin chest proudly. Sis, you do not need to be touched. I am about to go take missions now. Earning crystal cores will be a matter of minutes. Supporting you in the future will not be a problem. I am not touched. Good. It is better that you are not touched. Lu Chen looked a bit embarrassed. He quickly tried to save face and smooth things over. Where are you living now? Fang Su and I were assigned a 2-bedroom apartment. Come stay with me. I will give you my room. Fang Su and I can share one. I thought for a moment and answered, I was assigned a duplex villa.
O duplex villa?
Fang Su listened from the side, couldn't help but chime in. I knew flight users were in demand, but I didn't expect them to be this in demand. Maybe flight users aren't a big deal elsewhere, but in the South Province base they absolutely are. The reason is that in South Province, many cities are completely flooded. Resources were already scarce, which makes them even more precious. Seafood is the one thing they have plenty of, but who in their right mind eats seafood every day? That is why they needed many flight ability users to carry seafood elsewhere for trade. Since flight is a special type of ability, not many people awaken it, and even fewer are in the South Province base. So those who awaken the flight type are literally making money while flying, as long as they don't encounter malicious humans attacking them. The profession of a flight ability user is actually not very dangerous. They can fly, and they can make money. I'm so jealous. Hearing this, Lu Chen felt a bit lost in his heart, but also a bit happy for his sister. He thought that, in the apocalypse, he could finally be the one his sister relied on. He didn't expect his sister to be even more capable than him. Before the apocalypse, his sister took care of him. From childhood to adulthood, the family kept a tight grip on his allowance. Only his sister would share her own allowance and snacks with him. When she grew up, she became a streamer. Once she made money, she bought him everything he wanted. He always thought he'd repay her once he earned his own money. But then the apocalypse came. Let's go. I didn't notice Lu Chen's mood. Follow me to the market. Calling it a market is a stretch. It's actually just a lot of street stalls. There's also an official base storefront. A sign at the door lists supplies exchangeable for crystal cores. Seafood sellers are the most numerous, and also the most ignored. I saw a large iron basin, filled with crawfish that were bigger than the lobsters from before the apocalypse. A sign was hanging above it. It read, Mutant crawfish, fresh and delicious meat, 1 crystal core per basin. Lu Chen followed my gaze and saw the sign. Damn. 1 core per basin? That's highway robbery. All along the way, I'd heard that seafood here was worthless, but I didn't expect it to be this worthless. A whole iron basin of crawfish for 1 core, and he actually calls it robbery? Seeing that the crawfish were quite fresh, I took out a crystal core and tossed it to the man. I'll take this basin. Lu Chen quickly stepped forward. This isn't worth your... Before Lu Chen could finish, the boss took the core, and with a huge smile, handed the basin to Lu Chen. Thanks. Boss, this basin is yours too. With that, he bolted away, as if he were afraid I'd change my mind. Sis, 1 core for a basin of crawfish is too expensive. Lu Chen thought his sister had just arrived and didn't know how things worked in the base. After handing the basin to Fang Su, he hurried to explain. You don't understand. Major battles break out here every few days. When the battle ends, who knows how much seafood can be scavenged from the shore? It doesn't even cost anything. 1 core might not be much, but it's better used for other supplies. But I want to eat it now, and if something can be solved with money, why bother doing the hard work yourself? I expressed my confusion. My tone was too sincere, making Lu Chen and Fang Su, the 2 paupers, feel ashamed. Paupers like them have to consider cost-effectiveness. Does a flight ability user need to? She's someone who lives in a duplex, same species, but why is the gap so huge? After buying the seafood, I saw quite a few fresh vegetables, and bought a lot of those too. Fresh vegetables are also luxury items. After all, since the apocalypse, hardly anyone is willing to farm. Any ordinary person with a bit of ambition would rather go out and train, slay S-rank zombies to earn crystal cores, to gain the capital to survive the apocalypse. Of course, those are just pretty excuses. The reality is, no matter how hard ordinary people farm, they can't compete with wood-type ability users. These people can accelerate plant growth, quickly driving down the costs for ordinary farmers. Then, the wood-type users monopolized the vegetable and fruit market. The prices of vegetables and fruits are mostly set by them. After all, they are the suppliers. These vegetable sellers are mostly middlemen. They buy stock from wood-type users and sell it here, making a profit from the price difference. Lu Chen and Fang Su, those 2 paupers, though they had no money to buy vegetables. If they wanted vegetables, they'd spend cores on seeds. Selling homegrown vegetables is a hassle, but growing enough for themselves is barely manageable. Right now, the 2 of them were carrying the things I'd bought while wandering around. I was spending crystal cores like they were nothing, seemingly oblivious to the greedy eyes watching from the shadows. Sis, let's get out of here. Although fighting isn't allowed in the base, can't be entirely stopped, just like the laws before the apocalypse. Many people still break them knowing the law. I had naturally sensed it long ago, the gazes of those with ill intentions, but I didn't care at all. What's there to fear? If they dare come, I'll make sure they never go back. Fang Su immediately flattered me. Sister is so badass. Badass what? Lu Chen frowned. My sister's flight ability might not fear zombies, but human abilities can still hit her. I looked at the things in their hands. There was basically no room left to carry anything. I said mercifully, go call a car. Let's head back. Alright. Lu Chen felt as if he'd been granted a great pardon, and immediately called a 4-wheeled vehicle. The 3 of us piled the things in and got in. I gave the address. The car started, and shortly after, another car quickly followed us. Lu Chen and Fang Su were still marveling at where I lived. This is a prime location. It's just a bit too close to the battlefield. If the base ever fails one day, the first place to suffer would be where sister lives. Do you 2 have anything left in your rooms? If so, go grab it on the way. From now on, live at my place. I sat in the passenger seat, glancing at the 2 of them through the rearview mirror. I mainly wanted to bring Lu Chen along, the only person the original owner couldn't let go of. In this world was this younger brother. Cultivators care about karma. By a twist of fate, I took over her body, and I want to have some fun here. Naturally, I have to give him some reward. Of course, besides taking care of Lu Chen, he himself is a very good guy, and some clothes. As for supplies, there are none. The 2 of them are completely broke. Otherwise, they wouldn't have taken on this mission. Actually, in the southern province base, the one thing better than other bases is that the south doesn't lack food. By doesn't lack, I mean seafood, which is why the southern base is full of lazy bums. As long as they don't starve to death, they'll gorge themselves on seafood. Going out on adventures? No way, just surviving is good enough for them. I didn't have any men's clothes either, so I had the driver stop by the place where Lu Chen and Fang Su live. Their place is decent enough, located in an old residential complex. The complex is fairly well preserved. The buildings are less than 10 years old. The main gate was open, allowing humans to enter freely, but cars couldn't get in. The 3 of us got out and Fang Su said, "Bro, I'll go in and grab it. You 2 wait for me here. Alright, be quick." Lu Chen replied, and once Fang Su had run off, he stepped closer to me. Just as he was about to speak, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a mini van pull up behind our car. Then, like squeezing cotton out of a box, a crowd of people piled out. 1, 2, 3, 6 people in total came out of that van. 6 people from one tiny little van. 4 men and 2 women. 2 of them looked older. Isporching Bearts, probably around 50. The other 4 looked to be in their 20s or 30s. They looked at Lu Chen and me, the greed in their eyes almost tangible. One of them, under 1.7 meters tall, had a very muscular build, with a prominent scar on his face. His downturned eyes gave him a menacing look. He seemed to be the strongest of the 6, clearly acting as the leader. He took a step forward, sized us up and said, "Little girl, I suggest you hand over your crystals quietly, and then come with me for a bit. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. Mediocre." I glanced at them, and a single word came to mind. Lu Chen looked at his sister in shock. Since when did his sister become so brave? He knew that, after the apocalypse, many people's personalities changed drastically. But for his sister to go from being socially anxious to a social terrorist, that change was just too extreme.
Cease.
He whispered a warning. There are 6 of them. The odds aren't in our favor. Let's retreat first. I'll go first. Hold them off while you get away. Don't worry. I have speed abilities. I'm very fast. I glanced at Lu Chen, my eyes filled with deep affection for him. I finally understood why the original owner couldn't let go of this brother. He's just a bit dim. He completely lacks situational awareness. Seeing how calm I am, he should know I've got this under control. Not that I'm just showing off. After all, I'm no fool. Knowing the enemy outnumbers us, why would I provoke them? That idiot leader was also clueless. Hearing Lu Chen's whisper, he burst out laughing. Want to run? You think we'll let you get away with this many of us? Just as he finished speaking, the 2 girls behind him frowned slightly. Enough talking, just finish them off quickly. It'll be trouble if we run into a patrol. God said, I have a sword that can slay idiots. As the 3 of us spoke simultaneously, the 6 of them stared. Suddenly, a long silver sword flashed with a blinding light, descending into my hand like a blade from the heavens. A space ability user, Lu Chen exclaimed in shock.
Cease.
You're a space user? Then why did you make me carry the things you just bought? They were heavy, you know, you didn't ask. The 2 of us chatted as if no one else were there, making the 6 opponents feel completely ignored. The leader snapped immediately, you're choosing the hard way. Get them. As soon as he spoke, everyone unleashed their abilities, except for that idiot leader who didn't move. But I soon realized what his power was. A mental ability user. I smiled. Such a mediocre little man, daring to show off his skills before a master. Your ability is flawed. You actually tried a mental attack. To me, a man's mental attack is like a single drop of water falling into the ocean. I didn't even need to consciously think. The mental attack simply vanished. However, a counterattack was still necessary. After I raised my sword to block the mental wave, the following abilities surged. Then, with a slight flick of my will, the man standing before me suddenly widened his eyes, and a trickle of blood leaked from the corner of his mouth. Immediately after, that look of shock and panic turned into a vacant stare. Sister. Food. Food. Oh no, it's a mental attack. The 2 women closest to the man noticed his strange behavior instantly. They exchanged a glance. Sis, let's go. Among the 6 of them, the strongest was this level 3 mental user. Not only was his level the highest, but because he was a mental type, he could attack invisibly. They had worked together a few times before, encountering others with stronger abilities than them. But relying on the man's mental sneak attacks, they were always successful. They never failed. Want to run? You'll have to ask my sword first. I whipped the sword forward, the blade flashing with a cold light, slicing gently through the air, leaving a silver trail behind. Lu Chen watched the scene in shock. The slender sword seemed like a formation, grazing lightly across their necks. Then, blood vessels burst, and 6 sprays of blood erupted into the air. Yet not a single drop of blood touched the blade. In the blink of an eye, the 6 of them stared wide-eyed, as if they couldn't believe they didn't even have a single chance to resist. Just like that, they were gone. In their final moments of life, they seemed to hear a low voice. I told you, my sword is for slaying idiots. How could I not? When Feng Su came back carrying the bag, he happened to see the scene. Holy crap, sis is badass. The sword manifested from thin air and vanished just as quickly. I told Feng Su as if nothing had happened. I got the stuff. Let's head back. Lu Chen and Feng Su climbed into the car. Dazed. They didn't snap out of it until the car had driven dozens of meters. Sis, you're actually a triple ability user, mental space and flight? Even the top experts in the base are only dual ability users. Not afraid of me? I raised an eyebrow. I thought Lu Chen looked shaken just now. I just killed 6 people. Though killing isn't a crime after the apocalypse, and those who do it are everywhere, some people still have a moral compass. They can't stomach killing. Lu Chen shook his head. Why would I be afraid of my own sister? If you didn't have your powers, we would have been the ones dead today. Those people were obviously scum. Their moves were too practiced. Who knows how many lives they've ruined. Killing them was basically a service to the world. This actually surprised me a bit. I killed those people in front of Lu Chen today, specifically to test him. As for the result, it was acceptable. I'm no saint, but I'm fiercely protective of my own. Once I consider someone mine, regardless of whether they're right or wrong, in front of outsiders, I will always side with them. As for lessons, if they really need a scolding, I'll be the one to do it. It's not for outsiders to point fingers. After Lu Chen finished, he immediately asked, Sis, are you really a triple ability user? No. I'm likely an all-system ability user. What? All-system? Lu Chen and Fang Su's eyes widened. You mean you have every single ability?
Yeah.
The two of them looked like startled huskies, staring blankly for a long time. Until the car arrived in front of the villa, the trembling driver finally dared to speak. He's just an ordinary person. After hearing all those secrets just now, would he be silenced? We're here.